Good morning, I am back and I'm standing so tall today. Hold on, I'm gonna... Also... Yeah, it's a little better, I think. Okay, I didn't realize how far away I was standing. Dang, you probably wouldn't have been able to hear me at that distance. Good lord. SCP-1506, which one is that one? SCP-1056. I don't know a whole lot of SCPs. Okay, time to click on it. Yeah, I've read Candle Cove before. Yeah, I know about Candle Cove. Oh dang, this has a lot of text. I'm not gonna read all that, not right now. Waving emoji, hello the wolf, and Tenma, and Boas, Shibi, Tenma, welcome. Kissy emoji, mwah. A waving emoji, hello Dead Space. Kissy emoji from Robotic Soul, mwah, hello, welcome to the stream. Cope emoji, I don't know what we are coping. Is it the loss of our sleep? Maybe. Not because these scaries... oh my god. Not because these stories are going to be scary, but because I woke up so early. Oh no, Omega, thank you for stopping by and liking the stream. I appreciate that. Thank you. Let's see. Good night, early morning. I don't know. You burgers say for 3 AM lol, plus it's noon here. Do you call Americans burgers? I didn't know that we were called that, dang. No wonder I stream on Annie Live, dang. Early morning, I think, indeed. It's 3:06 AM, it is the early morning. If I get possessed by a demon, that's because it is the witching hour or whatever. If I get brewed into a potion or something. I don't know what witches do. I know that they're scary in Minecraft. I don't like the witch guys in Minecraft. If I find a witch guy in Minecraft and they're by my house, I kind of just have to reset because I'm too afraid to hit them. Because they're gonna hit me first. They can throw things. That's not fair. I don't throw things. It'd be cool if I could throw things though. Like if I could throw my sword in Minecraft, that'd be really nice. I was also gonna say something else. Oh right, yeah. I also don't play Minecraft anymore when pillagers stop by my house. I don't know how to stop them, they're too strong. I'm too scared. If I don't want to get rid of my house, I just dig a tunnel away. And then I find a new place to live. You can make your own splash potions. I'm not smart enough to make potions in Minecraft. I feel like I need to have a better brain to do that. So I never make potions in Minecraft. Good morning, TMP. Welcome back, honey. Thank you. Welcome back to you as well, the wolf. Morning, Asila. Good morning, Dead Space. Welcome back, EB Sweetie Mwah. Mwah. Welcome back to you too. Let's see. I'm surprised I'm up this early. I am too. There's a total of 16 people here, only a fraction of what we usually have. But I think that makes plenty of sense. Because I don't usually stream at this time, and if I did, I think the bags under my eyes would look a little different. You see my earlier message? I don't believe I did. I don't believe I did. I don't believe I did. And PT Sheepyheads rise up. It is Pacific time. I guess it's Pacific time all the time because I'm in Pacific time. That's my time zone. I don't know what I'm saying. You say 3 a.m., but I say 6 a.m. Good morning, Asila. Look forward to listening to the stories before I had to work today. Ah, gotcha. Best of luck at work then. I'm happy you're here, Vercon. No on Annie Live, darling? No, hold on. It was just a coincidence that your message is the next one on YouTube. Okay, my friend asked me to pick him up from before this stream because he couldn't get a ride. Glad I was awake at this hour. Lucky for him. Yeah, I guess so. And GG, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for joining this stream. Is your name GG because of Guilty Gear? I love Guilty Gear. The thumbnail has kissable teeth? What does that mean? Scary lurking emoji, enjoy your stay. I got up at 10 a.m. I had like 2 hours to wake up until the stream. I had like 10 hours of sleep. And don't forget, succubus mostly visit at 3 a.m. Spooky. I think succubus are less spooky than other stuff that can happen at 3 a.m. Also, that's just like the Chiodo song. Man, that's crazy. I thought about this earlier. Speaking of songs, yesterday I listened to Fashionably Late again. Not the song, the album, but technically the song, because obviously that song is on the album. The video game song, honestly, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. People are just really mean about the lyrics, and honestly, it's understandable. The lyrics are just silly. The lyrics are just silly. It sounds satisfying enough. It's not as bad as people say it is, I don't think. Let's see, Scary got up at 10 a.m. Had like 2 hours to wake up until the stream. Had like 10 hours of sleep. Man, I didn't get 10 hours of sleep, I don't think. I was supposed to go to bed early last night, but I ended up staying awake until like 9. So that's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, no, 1, 2. I got 5 hours of sleep. I got half of that. Oh man. For me, it's 6 p.m. here. Nice and pleasant evening, I guess. Destroyer, welcome into the Annie live stream as well. Welcome. I saw Americans being called burgers at plenty other online communities. I see. Other online communities. That's a little suspicious. Just announcing my presence. Gotcha. Welcome in expletive. Oh, hello. Hi, Sterling. Welcome into the stream. Have you been thinking for the waving emoji? I don't know what I'm thanking you for it, but thank you anyways. I appreciate it. Hi, Sela. Hi, Destroyer. Welcome. I went to eat at 3 a.m., but got up at 11, a bit early for me still. But anything for you, wifey? 3 to 11, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 9 hours of sleep is early? Oh, man. That's how much I, like, get normally, and I wake up at, like, 4 to 5. Man, I wish I could go back to the time I could sleep 12 hours. Oh, man. Oh, no, sleepy sheepy, very, very. More awake than I expected myself to be, though. See, how are you online more than me? Yet you're older, LMAO. You're such an old redacted. Huh? Well, I wanted to read more until 4 or 3 a.m., but then I got to bed at 0. I see. So, if I read more, I'd sleep more. Noted. Maybe I should start reading. Oh, we're actually gonna read today. I forgot. Sorry, I was busy talking. We're gonna read today. I don't know where all the scary stories are at. Last time we did this, it was with stories that were really, really, really bad. Like really bad creepypastas. There's like an apple and onion one. There's one about like annoying orange. But maybe we'll sort by good this time. I have to try to stay up. I'm too tired to stay up. I see. And sleepy emoji. Blitzbane, welcome in. Thanks for stopping by. How have you been? When did internet addiction start, good sir? I've been good. Hope it's been great. Glad I was able to catch a stream again. I'm glad you're able to, too. It makes me happy to see you again. There's 8 hours, and if I sleep even hours, I'm always tired. I see. So if you slept 9 hours, because it's an odd number, you'd be less tired? This is a genuine question. Did I understand or did I not understand? And Blitzbane, thank you for the pen light. I appreciate that. All that I earn, whether it be through gifts on Annie Live or tips on Stream Elements or super chats or ad dollars or memberships or gifted memberships, go towards me surviving longer. I buy my groceries and my like toothpaste and stuff with that. And I put some aside every month for stream money. And also I put as much possible into savings for moving in December. So I really appreciate it. Thank you. Glow stick is pretty dark. Glow stick, it's pretty dark. In my room, it's kind of light. I have my ceiling light on as well as the ring light. Back in 2006, LMAO. Oh, man. Good morning. Good morning, Agoran. Your name is hard to read, sorry. I'm not very good at reading. I don't know why I do so many reading streams. How is there 25 people? It's so early. How did you find me? Whoa, super early? Yeah, super early. And Blitzbane, thank you for liking. Sleepy emoji. Ayo, I was in kindergarten at the time. Does a year have kindergarten? What's it called there? Yeah, what is it called, actually? Yes, both 7 or 9 hours would be better than 8. Gotcha, gotcha. I drank 200 mg in preparation for this stream. 200 mg of what? What drug did you consume to prepare for this stream? What is an mg? What is a milligram? How heavy is that? LMAO, I was in high school, but yeah, we have kindergartens too. I see. Well, I'm pretty much not tired. Had enough sleep, I think. My nose is bleeding when I woke up. And stuffy nose. I see. Hope you're okay, the wolf. My nose felt like it was gonna bleed this morning. I woke up and I felt so dry. It turns out my family actually turned on the heater, so it was nice and warm. But it dried out my insides. I had to drink a ton of water. Caffeine and 1 gram is 1,000 mg. Well, how heavy is a gram? How heavy is a gram? I don't even know how heavy an ounce is. If you can translate this to inches, how many inches would a milligram be? What are the plans for today? Asela, read, and then Cult of the Lamb. Milligram, 1,000 part of a gram. Well, I understand the milli part and the gram part. It's 1,000 grams. That's the obvious thing. But I still don't know how big that is. Different measure units. Milligram is 1,000 of a gram. Wait, 1,000th of a gram? Or 1,000 grams? Okay, yeah, never mind. I don't understand, actually. Weight and height is different, lol. I know. I'm being stupid on purpose. You see, my character is that I'm incredibly stupid, and then you guys can assist me with your humongous brains, and I can compliment you on it, and then I'll make you happy. See, it's all a big manipulation act, you know? Hi, Essie. Hi, MDA. Welcome. Also, I'm not serious, by the way. Apparently, a single grain of long grain rice is 20 to 40 mg. That's a lot, or a little, I guess. I don't know. That's a bigger number than I would have thought. More Valmonica training. I wish I was playing that game today, but I'm not. I'm playing a different game. Next time we play will be tomorrow. We have viewer duels. You're allowed to beat me up with whatever you want. I don't care if it's disgusting. I don't care if it makes me throw up. Bring whatever you want to the fight. I'll not be playing Valmonica, though, until Sunday. Sasuga Sila, top tier manipulator. If I was a manipulator, why would I say it straight out like that? so I don't believe I am. I try to be very open and honest with you guys, which is why I tell you guys how many dollars I earn from Annie Live coins. So I drank basically half the recommended daily intake of caffeine because the recommended daily limit is 400 mg for an adult. Okay, I see. So if you drink 400 at 11:59. How long do you have to wait? No, yeah, 400. If you drink 400 at 11:59, how much do you have to wait? Yeah, how much do you have to wait until next time you can have another 400? Now I'm okay, no nosebleed, and the stuffy nose is not as bad as before. I think it's fine for now. That's good, that makes me happy, I'm glad. 1 milligram is around 3.5274 E minus 5 ounces. That does not help me. But, okay, about 3 ounces. Gotcha. So, like, pretty much nothing. Me casually drinking 2 cans of Monster almost every day. Imagine drinking anything that's supposed to increase energy. I never do that. I only drink tea. There's nothing in it. Only leaves of vanilla. Also, I have tea right now. Please remind me to drink it before it gets cold. It shows how confident you are. Huh? I'll bring my Skull Servant deck tomorrow. Gotcha, Blitzbane. Just put toothpick in the eyes. Wait, what? What are you talking about? No! Circle mouth emoji. What's up, Lonely Cloud? I'm gonna practice MD right now. I might not have a chance since I'm on the list, but practice is still good. Yeah, practice makes perfect. Just like that one song by that one band I don't remember. Fiend 24 hours. I swap here instead of Annulife. Gotcha, Jacob. Gotcha. I appreciate you checking out my YouTube stream. Thank you. Why America use different metric than EU? Why have different? Just join us EU. Well, if you want to pay for me to go move to Europe, I'll take it. But I don't think there's anything we can do anymore about America using a different system. When tea gets cold, make iced tea. Make iced tea. It's cold out. It's like 20 degrees outside. I forgot you guys are European. I don't know what that means. It's like negative 400 degrees outside. The creator history, or that's part of your name, history, and no, America will never mimic the EU. My government rather collapse LMAO to arrest me. Toothpicks in the mouth, LMAO, like in old Tom and Jerry. Oh man. I remember I used to stay home and watch Tom and Jerry during my summer breaks at school. And other shows, but I'm not gonna say which ones or else you'll know how old I am. Tom and Jerry still plays to this day, I'm pretty sure, so I don't think that matters. But I'm not gonna mention the rest of the shows, you can guess. Seraphim? Ah, gotcha. Wanna fight against Sheepy again? Well, maybe we will. Will I beat you up? Probably not, you'll probably win. Give me a big black eye. Kids Next Door, it's a pretty good guess, I know that one. I'm pretty sure the imperial measurements are just based on metric now anyway, with their random multipliers. If I'm being honest, I don't know which one is imperial and which one is metric. I don't call them that. I call it the one that America uses and the one that America doesn't use. Invaders in, that's also a pretty good guess. Pay for you to move here? Why must you tempt me, Essie? Don't worry, I know you undo it. I know you're not a big fan of getting all your information stolen, and I think that you'd have to provide more information to give bigger amounts of money. I can't unsee it. You can play chess in SE forehead. You lift her bangs, lol. No. Stop being mean to me. There's a reason I have bangs. Don't bring it up. Don't break the illusion. And Rocco's Modern Life, lol. Pretty good guess. Laszlo's Camp. I think that's not the title. I think it's the same thing but backwards. Is it Camp Laszlo? Camp Laszlo. Yeah, it's backwards. Dang, 2005? That wasn't even that long ago. 5 seasons? I thought it was like 2 max. Dang. Okay, anyways. Energy drinks are not yummy at all. I tried a few a while ago while I was playing a PC, and it's basically bad for your body to drink too much. I could be wrong. No, I don't think you're wrong about energy drinks being bad for you, but also they don't taste the best, I don't think. I've tried some because my mother drinks energy drinks sometimes, and she asks me sometimes if I want to try, and if it's like berry flavored, I'll try. But I don't really drink them myself, except when I need to stay awake for 48 hours so I can win the not sleeping competition. 2005, almost 20 years ago? No. 2005 was like 2 years ago. What are you talking about? Shh. Japanese Tom and Jerry is very adorable. I haven't seen it in Japanese, only English, but I don't think it would really matter what language I'd watch it in. First episode Tom and Jerry was released in 1940. Yeah, and they still play Tom and Jerry to this day, so I'm still gonna talk about watching Tom and Jerry. Anyone can watch Tom and Jerry. And question mark, welcome to the stream. Yeah, the popular energy drinks taste awful. If I'm not, if only I'm not Ash myself again, but no more. Yeah, you learn from that mistake. It's okay. It's okay. It's not gonna happen again because I'm sure it was very traumatizing. I give you head pets? Thank you, Jacob. Asila was 20 in 1940. Wow. You think I was born in the... what's it called? A roaring 20s? I don't know, I hate history. No! If I was born in the roaring 20s, I'd be a lion, not a sheep. I prefer a woman with bangs, 5 head or not. I see. I also prefer having bangs. I like not looking bald. I set a card face down in SE forehead and I end my turn. It's not gonna stay there. My forehead's not sticky. Don't play games on my forehead. And Charlie, welcome in. Tethra, you too. How are you guys? Hi, welcome to the stream. I forgot on my bad. You guys are from the time He-Man was on. I'm not going to make any comments on the time that I am from, personally. Question mark and Charlie, thank you guys for liking. I appreciate that. You guys got on my bad. No, I don't drink that energy stuff. Even when I'm playing more than 18 hours, I drink other stuff. Probably water would be the best option, right? Hello, hi Lumuna, welcome back to you too. How have you been? Wow, so early. Good morning, Essie. Good morning, Assault Insert. Sela got a Megamind look under her bangs. No. My head's not blue. I'm not cutting off my blood circulation through my brain. It's okay. Scooby-Doo? Scooby-Doo's another one. Like, there's so many versions of Scooby-Doo. Like, Scooby-Doo's been playing since, like, the dawn of time. Anyone can watch Scooby-Doo. Just depends on which one you did watch. Now, I have talked about specifically the one with a Simple Plan opening song, but that doesn't mean anything. I could be born any year. You'll never know. But the taste comes down to taste. I prefer energy drinks to coffee by a huge margin. Well, not drinking much of either, prefer the taste of coffee to energy drinks. Energy drinks taste kind of chemically, and I prefer my chemicals to only be acetone, and I don't think they're making energy drinks out of acetone. Maybe when they start doing that, maybe I'll buy their products. Sing a Scooby-Doo opening, that's scary. Well, you know what's scary? Not singing Scooby-Doo opening, but singing in general. Sorry, no. Do you have a big forehead under that hair? No. No, it's all hair. It's all hair. My forehead's very tiny, actually. Can her forehead beat Goku? Guys, come on. I say live live at this hour. What? Yeah, I'm live at the hour of the demonic possessions. Scary emoji. Oh man, not even for 99 coins? That's like 10 cents. No, no. You. No, they recently came out with a new He-Man Netflix show, so you can say you were alive during He-Man, right? LMAO? They did do that? I didn't know that. I don't have Netflix. I know they made season 3 of Kimi ni Todoroki, but I didn't watch that. Again, I don't have Netflix. Sad emoji? Sorry. And Snip, welcome to the stream as well. Blue, cool, Gatorade, and red wine is best palate cleanser. Like, together or not together? Like, do you drink those two things together? I want the creepy Scooby-Doo when Belma will always remember. Gotcha. X-Men animated was cool back in the day. 12:25, that's the time for me right now. I'm tired. How are you? For me, it's 3:25. I'm also tired. I'm also tired. Dark sheet mode. Yeah, it's nice and dark in the room. I brought back the room so we can have the atmosphere. I need to open creepypasta.com or whatever it's called. Creepy pasta. Scary stories and original horror fiction. Let's see. Gator wine, yes, together. Gotcha. I wish I could get more green apple Gatorade. The green apple is really good. Alright, I'm going to go to top ranked. I'm going to sort it by rating highest. Love your model. Thank you, Jacob. It's very nice of you. Mama worked very hard on it. Period. Why? That's a very helpful piece of information. Thank you. Mr. Dorian, welcome in. Thanks for liking. I appreciate that. I'll read now and listen to your comfy voice and relax, Pat. Thank you. Please enjoy your reading. Alright. Oh my god, the format on this website. This looks terrible. Maybe it'd look better if they didn't have a billion ads everywhere. Okay, at least the stories themselves are formatted normally. Okay. Stop giving me ads! Psychosis! I remember, so, what year did this come out? Pretty long ago, right? Okay, 2010. Psychosis came out in 2010. I always saw it on the front page of the Creepypasta website, but I never read it, so maybe read Psychosis today. Maybe read Psychosis. I remember I talked to my therapist about this, actually. I remember, ages ago. Was it my therapist? I talked to some health person about this. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't my therapist. I don't know. I talked to some doctor about this. I was like, yeah, I read creepypastas online. This is back when I didn't hate reading. And I was like, yeah, I always see Psychosis at the front page, but I never read it. I always forget to read it. So I talked to somebody about it. 29 minutes of reading? Whoa. This is gonna be a big one, guys. This is gonna take us hours. Oh my gosh. There's so many ads on this. They're gonna make a fortune for me reading this. Good lord. Do we read Psychosis? I estimated reading time 21 minutes, but also I'm reading out loud, so it's pretty much doubled. Gasp a sheep. Melania, welcome into the stream. Welcome, welcome. Whoa, it's the cute girl with handles on her head. They're not handles. It's part of like my skull. Fleawake wanted to pass by and say hi. It's late for me, lol. Have fun. Gotcha. Rest well, job. I will be seething secretly at MD while you read these not so creepy stories. Gotcha. It's still Katawa Shoujo, no longer to do 100% rather than I remember. Or it's longer to do. Oh well, I got all the time in the world. Alright, best of luck then. SU, will the BGM sound scary too? When it... Yeah? Will it? Is this scary enough? Is this the BGM you're talking about? Sela, milk on cereal or cereal on milk? Milk also either cold or hot. Milk in the fridge away from me, because it'll give me a stomachache. Oh no, I know. It's gonna be so scary now. He has a dirty mind. Oh, sorry, my cousin got a hold of the keyboard. Sure, that was your cousin. Yeah. Yeah. Oh no, hot cereal? Throwing up emoji. I think if I have my cereal wet, I prefer it with water. Don't drink the water if you do that, because the water tastes really bad. But it's good for getting the cereal wet. Now, cold or hot, neither, room temperature. That's what I want. Okay, maybe we don't read Psychosis because it's a billion words long. If you're armed and at the Glenmont Metro, please shoot me. I'm intrigued, actually. I'm intrigued. How long is this one? Do you have an estimate? 17? Okay, it's a little better. Okay. The cousin joke makes you sound underage. Yeah. Suddenly there's stuff in my throat. I'm gonna take a sip of my tea. Okay. It's from 2020. Okay, I'm gonna mute actually first. I need to cough some of this stuff out of my throat. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Never mind, I didn't mute. Too bad. I needed to cough before doing that. Okay. So Lavender Town music is the classic background music. This isn't Lavender Town, but I can hear the similarities, I guess. I can kind of see it. Okay. If you're armed and at the Glenmont Metro, please shoot me. Make it a headshot. Shoot me in the temple, aiming slightly downward. I need the bullet to travel the shortest possible distance through my brain before it hits my hippocampus. If I'm lucky, the sensation of the gunshot ripping through my skull will only last a few decades. As awful as this sounds, you'll be doing me an enormous favor. Death by headshot as soon as possible is vastly better than the alternative. My ordeal started over 10,000 years ago at 10:15 this morning. I earn extra money by participating in drug trials. I'm a so-called healthy subject who takes experimental drugs to help assist side effects. To help assess. Okay, I'm gonna try that line again. Hold on. Like I'm recording. I'm a so-called healthy subject who takes experimental drugs to help assess side effects. Once it was a kidney drug. A few times it's been something for blood pressure or cholesterol. This morning they told me the drug I took was a psychoactive substance intended to accelerate brain function. None of the drugs I had tested so far have had done anything for me. In the recreational sense. In other words, none of the drugs I've tested have given me a killer buzz, or mellowed me out, or anything. Maybe I've always ended up the placebo group, but nothing I've tested had affected me at all. Today's drug was different. This shit worked. They gave me a pill at 10:15 and told me to hang out in the waiting room until they called me back for some tests. Only about 30 minutes, the research assistant told me. I flopped onto the waiting room couch and read a few articles from a copy of Psychology Today that was sitting on the coffee table. They hadn't called me back when I finished my Psychology Today, so I picked up a new US News and read it cover to cover. Then I read the old Scientific American. What was taking them so damn long? I sluggishly turned my head to look at the wall. It was only 10:23 a.m. I had read all 3 magazines in 8 minutes. I remember thinking that this is going to be a long day. I was right. The waiting room had a little bookshelf with some used hardcovers on it. When I stood up to walk to the bookshelf, it felt like my legs barely worked. It's not that they were weak, they were just slow. It took a full minute just to stand up off the couch, another minute to take 2 steps to the bookcase. I scanned the old books on the shelf and picked out a copy of Moby Dick. My arms had the same problem as my legs, just reaching out 1 foot in front of me to grab the book took a long time. I actually got bored just waiting for my hand to reach the spine of the book. I slogged back to the couch and collapsed onto it in a slow-motion fall that reminded me of the low-gravity hops of an astronaut on the moon. I opened Moby Dick, parentheses slowly, and began reading. I started with "Call me Ishmael," got as far as Ahab throwing his pipe into the sea, which is all the way to friggin' chapter 30 before they called me back. "How are you feeling?" the research assistant asked me. "I feel slow," I said. "Actually, it's the other way around. Everything seems slow because you're so fast. But my legs, my arms, they're moving in slow motion." "Your body seems like it's moving slowly because your brain is fast. Your brain is running 10 or 20 times faster than normal. You're thinking and perceiving reality at an accelerated pace. But your body's still constrained by the law of biomechanics." Oh my god, that's a big word. "Frankly, you're moving much faster than a normal person. Just pantomime a jogging motion." Or she, not it, or just. Ugh. It's okay, it's the warm-up, it doesn't matter. When your brain is running so much faster right now, that even your fast walk seems very slow to you. I thought about my slow-motion flop onto the waiting room couch. Even if my muscle is slowed down, my body would still react to gravity the same way. But in the waiting room, I even fell in slow motion. Slow muscles couldn't explain why gravity seems weaker. My brain is going at warp 10. That's how I managed to read 3 magazines in the first 30 chapters of Moby Dick in 15 minutes. They ran a series of tests on me. The physical tests were fun. They made me jiggle 3 balls. Juggle 3 balls, okay. They made me juggle 3 balls. Then 4, then 6. I had no problem keeping 6 balls in the air because they seemed to be moving so slowly. The air because they... Okay, it's okay, it's the warm-up. We're gonna go back a little. It's okay. Okay. It was boring, frankly, waiting for each ball to move through its arc so I could catch it with my slow-motion hands and toss it into the air. They threw Cheerios in the air and I caught them with chopsticks. They dropped a handful of coins and I counted the total value before they hit the ground. A cognitive task were less fun, but very illuminating. I finished a 50-word word search, 3 seconds. Solve an interactive maze drawn onto a poster-sized paper, 2 seconds. View a slideshow projecting at 10 images per second and answer detailed questions about what I saw, 95% correct. It told me I measure over 250 on the Knopf. Wait, why is there's no K at the end? Oh, okay, ignore me. Again, it's the warm-up, it's okay. It's okay. Scale, apparently. That's deep into the superhuman range of thinking speed. Then they sent me home. "It'll wear off in a few hours," they said, "which will seem like days to you. Try to use the residual effect to get some work done. Catch up on work emails while you're still in high-speed mode." The ride home was horrible. It was only 3 metro stops. In real world time, it only took about 35 minutes. But in my drug-accelerated hypertime, it felt like days. Days just walking out of the medical research suite to the elevator seemed like it took an hour. I sprinted out of the office, willing my legs to push me faster, but the laws of biomechanics held me prisoner. As accelerated as my brain was, I couldn't do anything to make my legs work faster. The huge disconnect between my body and mind made it extremely difficult to judge how and when to slow down, turn, or rotate my body. I'd basically turned into a giant slow-motion spaz. I misjudged my speed and rammed into the wall by the elevator button at a pretty good speed. Even though I could see the wall coming at me, I couldn't make my finger outstretched to hit the elevator button move away fast enough, and I jammed it against the wall, hard. The pain was intense. If my brain had been running at regular speed, it probably only would have hurt for 30 seconds or so. But in my accelerated state, The intense pain seemed to last for half an hour, 45 minutes maybe. The elevator ride was horrible. It felt like I spent 4 or 5 hours just ascending 7 floors, with nothing to look at but the interior of the elevator car. I sprinted to the metro station. I have to admit, this part was almost fun. Even though my body moved at what seemed to be super slow speed, I could still carefully choose how and where to place my feet, swing my arms, and turn my torso. It only took a block or two to getting used to having a brain that ran 24 times faster than my body. Then I basically sprint danced the rest of the way, twisting and juking between people on the sidewalk and dodging moving cars with inches, aka minutes, of clearance. I spent an hour in my time frame descending into the subway and running on the platform. Endless tedium, waiting at 6 minutes for the red line train to arrive. Although there was more to look at on the metro platform than inside the elevator, it was still intensely boring. I should have stolen that copy of Moby Dick. The red line train roared into the station in slow motion, the normally high-pitched squeal of its brakes and frequently shifted by my high-speed mind to a long, low tone, like a monotone tuba solo. It wasn't just squealing subway train that was 3 octaves lower than normal. All sound is slowed to the point of near inaudibility. Voices were gone, shifted below threshold frequency of my hearing. I did manage to hear a screaming baby on the subway car. Her shriek slowed to sound like a whale song. Sharp sounds like a car horn and trucks bouncing over the potholes were low, muddied roars, like distant thunder. Back at the research office, I could still hear and communicate with the research staff, but now verbal communication with anyone would be impossible. The effect of the drug was still intensifying. I spent what seemed like days on that fucking red line train, days listening to the whale song of the screaming baby and the tuba solo of the brakes. Where ordinary voices were frequency shifted out of my audio range, smells didn't seem to be affected. I never became nose-blind to the body odor, the stench of the train's brakes, the meleeing of farts, and other smell wafting through the metro car. I finally got to my apartment, sprinting through the open door and into the front hall at full speed, like a slow, relaxing drift down a lazy river. I was relieved to be home. At least I had stuff I could do there. I picked up the book I was reading, 100 Years of Solitude, and finished it. Despite turning the pages so quickly that I tore many of them, it seemed like most of the time I spent finishing the book was spent on turning pages, not actually reading. 3 minutes had passed since I got home. I tried surfing the internet. My god, it takes so long. It takes a long time for computers to boot these days. It was too frustratingly slow. Tongue twister. Hours, seemingly, to load each new page. And a fraction of a second to read it. 100 articles in a news feed read and just 3 more minutes done. I dipped into my pile of yet-to-be-read books and finished 2 more. 4 more minutes had passed. I decided to try to sleep off the remaining effect of the drug. Unfortunately, whatever part of my mind is responsible for perception, the part that's been accelerated to hyperspeeds by the drug isn't the same as the part that governs sleep. Despite being awake for what I perceived as days, my physical brain had thought it was 1:25 p.m. It was not ready for sleep. Nevertheless, I tried to sleep. I walked to my bedroom, a slow 45-minute drift through my apartment, and flung myself into bed, lazily falling like a feather onto the mattress. I closed my eyes and lay there for hours and hours, 10 minutes of reality time before giving up. Sleep would not come. I was going to feel like days, or maybe even weeks of being trapped in a slow-motion prison. So I took Ambien. The sensation of the pill and the splash of water I used to swallow it sliding my throat was sickening. A lump that blocked my breathing moved like a slug down my esophagus. I read a book. 10 minutes had passed. I read another. 18 minutes since I took the Ambien. I threw the book across the room in disgust at the situation. The book slowly pirouetted and spun through the air like a leaf blowing in a breeze. It hit the wall with a long, faint rumble, the only sound I had heard for what seemed like hours, then drifted to the floor like a flip-flop sinking in a swimming pool. Welcome in everyone on Annie Live. I have to be here every once in a while so my hours count. Okay. I read a book, got on my bed, The force of gravity hadn't changed since I took the pill. The laws of physics were the same. It was just my perception of time had gone wackadoo. I haven't seen that word in ages, good lord. Now this meant I could use the speed things seemed to fall as a way of judging the effect of the drug. Based on how long it took the book to drift to the floor, it estimated the effect of the drug were still intensifying. I read a magazine. I turned on the television. I clearly saw each frame of video like I was watching a slideshow. Frustrated, I turned the television off. I read some more. The first 2 books of Churchill's A History of the English-Speaking Peoples. Not exactly a light read. Frankly, I hated it. But given the hours of tedium it would take to get another book off my bookshelf, just sitting on the couch and reading Churchill was better. Or at least less worse. It had been 35 minutes since I took the Ambien. I lay down on the couch, closed my eyes. Time passed. I inhaled. An hours-long process. Time passed. I exhaled for more hours. Sleep would not come. I needed a new plan. I needed to go back to the office where they gave me the drug. Maybe they would have something that could counteract its effects, or at least something to knock me out until it wore off. I exited my apartment as fast as possible, taking hours in my time frame to do so. I didn't even bother locking the door. It would have taken too long. Down the stairs, it's faster than the elevator if you run. Through the lobby, out the front door, onto the street. These few things felt like long days at the office. Sprinting down the street, dancing and weaving between pedestrians with what must look to them superhuman dexterity. Down the first flight of stairs at the metro, across the landing, another hour. Then, on the second flight of stairs, that's when the Ambien hit me. The Ambien didn't make me sleepy, not at all. Instead, it must have had a severe cross-reaction with the experimental drug I took this morning. I was bounding down the second flight of stairs, moving in slow motion, but still making perceptible progress. Then, wham, everything stopped. The dull roar of the street and metro noise ceased, replaced by a most perfect silence I've ever experienced. My downwards motion seemed to completely freeze before the Ambien kicked in. My perception of time was maybe a few hundred times slower than in real life. After the Ambien took effect, time moved thousands of times slower. Every second seemed like days to me. Even just moving my eyes to focus on a new point was like an impossibly slow scroll across my visual field. Over the course of the afternoon, I learned how to walk, run, jump, and my mind ran hundreds of times faster than my body, but with another 400 or 500 of magnitude of slow down because of the Ambien. Body control was almost impossible. It fell on the stairs. Even though I was all but frozen mid-step, controlling my muscles is impossible. I commanded my foot forwards for hours, then backwards for hours, more when it seemed like I would miss the next step. Hours attempting to adjust the angle of my ankle, then readjusting when it felt wrong. Despite these effects, I rolled my ankle on the next step. The pain wasn't at all mitigated by the slowness. Hours of increasing strain on my bent ankle. The nerve signals that send pain into the brain must work differently than the nerve in my ear. Sonic energy was spread out, but over time. Diluted until I was imperceptible. Pain flowed into my brain, undiluted by the change in the perception of time. Hours and hours of increasing weight on my turned ankle turned into hours of increased pain upon increased pain. I pitched forwards, my high-speed mind completely unable to control my low-speed body. I drifted downwards for days, managing to rotate my torso enough to keep my head from impacting the ground first. I eventually landed on my right shoulder. The first impact wasn't even noticeable. Then I felt a slight pressure in my shoulder as it came in contact with the ground. The pressure grew, bringing increased pain. For hours upon hours, my shoulder finally gave out, popping out of its socket with an endless, sickening tug. I came to a stop days later, crumbling onto the ground, staring at the ceiling, the pain in my shoulder still screaming with the intensity of a fresh, violent injury. I had plenty of time to think during the fall. If every second seemed like days to me, then each minute of real-world time would be like years. Even if the drug cleared out my system in the next 2 or 3 hours, this nightmare would seem to last centuries. By the time I hit the ground, I had a plan. I would somehow get to the platform and throw myself in front of a train. I twisted onto my hands and knees, dazed of my dislocated shoulder, crying for relief. I misjudged my rotation and rolled onto my back. I tried again, collapsing onto my face, as I tried to figure out how to control my body that moved slower than grass grew. Weeks of effort were finally rewarded with success. I stabilized on my hands and knees. If just getting on all fours was this difficult, I figured that walking or running was completely out of the question, so I crawled. I crawled through the metro tunnels. The dumb look on the faces in the crowd lingered on me for weeks. I crawled under the turnstile onto the escalator. Oh my god, that's hard to read. The escalator spilled the rush hour crowd onto the platform at the same speed of glacier spills ice onto the sea. I looked out over the crowded platform during my interminable downward ride. Oh my god, this guy's using the biggest words ever. Good lord. The train status sign said next to the train wouldn't arrive for 20 minutes. 20 minutes was like a year to me. I'd have to spend a year on the metro platform, waiting to die. I crawled off the escalator, enduring days of stupid expressions on the commuters' faces. I crawled a few feet to a concrete bench and curled up next to it, trying to find a position to lessen the pain in my shoulder. Then my problem, with time, got worse. Impossibly worse. The massive slowdown on the stairs was just the beginning of the interaction between the experimental drug and the Ambien. It fully hit me while I was curled up on the bench. I blinked. Years of darkness followed. Sound was already gone, and with my blink, sight was gone as well. All that existed was pain from my fall. My hyper-accelerated mind wasted no time compensating for the lack of sensory input. Voices spoke to me. They sung to me in languages that never existed. Patterns and faces and colors came and went in my mind's eye. I recalled my whole life and imagined living another. I forgot English. I settled into a profound despair. I spoke to God. I became God. I imagined a new universe and brought it to life with my thoughts. Then I did it all again. And again. My eyes opened with geologic slowness. A faint glow. Weeks. A slit of light. Weeks. A narrow view of the metro platform. Angles of the commuters near me, and an advertisement on the opposite wall. I extracted my phone from the pocket, a project that spanned decades. How can I even explain the boredom? The pain on my shoulder is nothing compared to the boredom. Is every thought I can think? I have thought hundreds of times already. The view of ankles and advertisements never changes. Never. The boredom is so intense it's tangible, like a solid object of metal and stone wedged into my skull. Inescapable. What are my options? If I crawl and fall into the tracks without an oncoming train to crush me, I won't die. I'll experience even more pain from the 4-foot fall, but I'll most likely be rescued by some do-gooder on the platform, and unable to act when the train finally does arrive. My suffering in that scenario will be endless. So, I wait for the train, so I can throw myself under it. When it finally hits me, I'll experience the pain of being ripped to pieces for centuries until finally the light of life leaves my brain and my existence ends. I've lived hundreds of lifespans at the foot of this bench. I'm far older in spirit than any human who has ever lived. Most of my life experience has been a snapshot of pain huddled on the floor of a subway platform, with an unchanging view of ankles and advertisements. This post is my plan B, my Hail Mary, my long shot. I've spent lifetimes typing and posting this message, in the hopes that someone will read it and become convinced that my suffering must end. Someone on the platform right now. Someone who will find a man curled under the bench, the man who crawled down the escalator, and to kill him as swiftly as possible, a bullet to the temple. If you're armed at the Glenmont Metro, please shoot me. Alright. We read the entire story. Alright. Man, you guys are talking while I was gone. Good lord. Let's see. I only have 2 to jiggle. This is from ages ago, man. Guess who got 2 thumbs and forgot to set their alarm for an hour earlier? Uh-oh, that's why you set 2 alarms. Uh-oh. Nate, what are you doing up so late? What do you mean? It's early. It's early. Alright, I'm back now. Big words. Oh, I read this story when a scholastic book fair happened at my school. Cool, I see. Concerned emoji. Why does it sound like he's going through a drug trip? Because he is. he took a drug to have this happen. Yeah. Good story. There's another one like this that's famous. Asimov created, but on a spaceship. I don't know if this author ever took recreational drugs in their life. But this seems somewhat reminiscent of those trip stories online. That was incredible. I did like that one a lot. And blushing emoji. What's wrong, Tenma? Wasn't bad. I've seen worse. I've definitely seen worse. I've definitely seen worse. Alright. So, if this guy drove a car, would it be like what Franklin does in Grand Theft Auto? Like in Grand Theft Auto... like in Grand Theft Auto 5? Would it be like that? No, it's not bad. Yeah, I don't think so either. Top of the morning, love. Good morning, Chris. How have you been? That was just the episode of Futurama where Fry drinks too much coffee, but scary. Oh, man, bad. Taking Ambien after experimental drug. Bad idea. That's what we learned from this. Okay, well, I'm pretty pleased with that one. Pretty pleased with that. Oh, man, Tiki Toby's here at the top. I didn't think Tiki Toby was that good. Memories of the Graveyard Ship. Because with creepypasta stories, in my mind, there's automatically negative points if the scary thing is like a bullied teenager. So I didn't really think that Tiki Toby would be so like highly rated on the like positive side of this. Interesting. It's like he increased his ping when he took the drug. This person were driving, they'd be committing DUI, lol. Oh, right, yeah, probably. You always trip over Grand Theft Auto cute. It's hard to say. I don't think I've ever said it right first try, out loud. When I talk in my brain, it sounds normal, and I don't trip over it, but if I use my mouth, it sounds different. Unfortunately. Memories of the Graveyard Shift. It's a 9.09. The Mind Mirror. I found a letter from my stalker. I kinda wanna hear that one. I'm gonna open that one for later. Alright, what's the next story, wifey? I feel bliss hearing you read despite the subject matter, lol. I have a good time reading specifically scary stories, or quote scary stories. I'm not sure if I've ever actually read a creepypasta that was like actually scary. I don't know, maybe I just don't find words scary. Maybe I just don't find things without pictures scary. And when they do attach pictures, they're stupid. They look like my thumbnail. Okay. So, this one is an estimated 12 minutes. It should be a lot faster than the last one. No, I will not be taking breaks, I guess. That's the way I'm doing this. Alright. I found a letter from my stalker. January 6, 2019. Madness, paranoia, mental illness, body horror, strange and unexplained messages. That's your name. Mutilations, notes, stalkers, 16 minutes of reading, but also it says 12, so that's cool. I remember the title now, The Jaunt. My father, or the father of sci-fi made it, Isaac Asimov. I see. I thought you were saying that your father made it at first. Water emoji! I should take a sip of water. And Ivan, welcome to the stream. How have you been? Thanks for liking, I appreciate that. Thank you very much, stalkers. So when are you ending this stream? Oh man, that's so weird of you to say that. I can't believe you're a stalker. Anyways, I'm gonna end at 6 a.m. Pacific time, so in like 2 hours. No wait, I'm misremembering things. It's Stephen King. I see. I read part of it because my mother lent it to me. Didn't really care. I much prefer watching the movies. If I had to pick a Stephen King movie, I would pick, what's it called? The Mist? That one? Yeah, I like The Mist. I like the way it ended. Not that I'm a big fan of the kind of stuff that happens at the end, but I like the way it ended. Frick, she brain is not working right. It's okay. Happens sometimes. Have you ever watched the movie Rec, aka Record? It's a found footage movie that came out in the 2000s. One of the few movies to actually scare me while watching. Rec. 2007. I might have. This looks familiar. Late night TV host Angela and her cinematographer are following the fire service on a call to an apartment building, but the Spanish police seal off the building after an old woman is infected by a virus, which gives her inhuman strength. Is this the right movie? Making coffee right now, must stay awake? Gotcha, gotcha. If you're tired though, you should take a nap if you can. And Essia, welcome into the stream. How have you been? Welcome. Clown industry single-handedly destroyed by one movie. I tried to ask this yesterday, but you missed it. Will you go back to eat before or between the two streams, or maybe off-stream MD grinding? That'd probably be more fun if I did that, but I'm probably gonna take a nap after. It's a Spanish film, so made in Spain. I see. I see. I've seen a few films that are not in English, but I'm not sure if this is one of them. Let's see, Rec, which version? The original Spanish or the American? There's an American remake too? Yeah, that's a film. Spanish, of course. As an American, even I say the American one is dog crap. Lol, I see. Oh, it's been a while? Yeah, it has. How have you been? How have you been? We'll chat for a tiny bit longer. I did just spend like 20 minutes away from you guys. Man. Gonna take some water too. The American remake is called Quarantine. I see. Hey, hi, Rebel Rika. Great having you back. How have you been? Been great. Just college. Be kicking my ass. Happens, I guess. I'm glad you're doing great though. That makes me happy. I'm glad. Also, I popped my finger. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna nap after this. Okay. Maybe we'll read the story, actually. Okay. TSKR. So. I need to change the music. There you go. That's better. I found a letter from my stalker. I found this note nailed onto a tree on my front lawn. I really don't know how to describe it. I'll just let you read it yourself. Note start. I saw you today. It was your birthday. You didn't see me. You hardly ever do these days. Your skin looks so nice and healthy. And your eyes. They're the most beautiful I'd ever seen them. You've grown so much. I remember how different you used to look when you were younger. I remember the day I first met you. It was 4 years ago. I was sitting at my desk, head down, listening to the teacher rattling off names for attendance. The teacher called out a name and I didn't recognize. And a stranger's voice answered behind me. Was there a new student? The teacher didn't pause for a second. Just continued calling out names after. I turned my head to where the voice had come from. I saw you, a pale thing, so thin, your eyes so red, at a seat that should have been empty. I saw the fireflies flying around you, flickering, dozens of them, never straying far from you. I saw them going through you and coming out through your skin, like you were a mist to them. Can you believe I thought you were a ghost? No one else seemed to acknowledge the new strangers sitting at the back of the class. And class after class, hour after hour passed as I waited for something to happen, for someone to notice you, for you to leave, for you to let out a ghoulish scream and claw at me like in a horror movie. I was certain I was in, but nothing happened. Teachers came and went, my classmates laughed and slept, and you just sat there. The bell rang for recess. The other kids ran to their mundanities of the day, leaving me and you together in the empty classroom. You stood up and pulled a chair from the desk next to you, making it face your desk. You turned your head to me and spoke. Well, you're slow today. Come on, ask me your questions. I don't know why I didn't run away screaming at the moment. Probably would have turned out better for me in the long run. But let's not speculate. I guess, at that point in my life, I was pretty bloody lonely. I figured there was only 50-50 chance you'd eat me, and the other 50 was that someone wanted to talk with me. Kid priorities don't make sense to me either these days. So I went along with the flow. I walked over to your desk, sat down on the chair you pulled for me, and asked my questions. What are you? You told me you didn't know. You said that once you were a child, just like me, with parents and friends. You used to go to the same school as me. Then one day, one ordinary day, when you were 10, you just woke up and you were like this, covered in fireflies, and no one could remember you. The moment they concentrated on anything else. No one, not even your parents. You told me of how I noticed you every day, how I'd think of you until recess every day, how I'd come to you every day, how we would talk every day, how we would meet for the first time every day for the last 3 years, about how I'd forget the instant I walked out of the room, how everyone would forget you, how the fireflies would make them, how the last 3 years you'd been alone. The story was very hard to believe, so I didn't. I asked what reality prank show I was on. You looked, well, unimpressed, and asked me to continue telling my story. I was caught off guard by the I don't know what this word is, I'm gonna skip it, sorry. I said last time I was here, I was telling you a story, a horror story about a haunted house. As you detailed the story, goosebumps pricked my skin. It was a story that had been making up in my mind, a story I hadn't told anyone yet. At that moment, a million reactions were open to me, all simultaneously adequate and inadequate. But the only thing that seemed proper was to finish the story for you, so I did. Halfway through, you interrupted me and asked my mother had recovered from her sickness yet. I had to shake my head, a bit ashamed of the fact that I had shared this private matter to a stranger. The story ended a few minutes before recess. My next class was in another room. He mentioned minutes and I thought it was the other story again. I was like, oh man, how long was that? Dang, it took ages. You told me to go. Your steadiness took me back. You seemed so accepting of your fate, like you'd already gotten used to the idea of being forgotten forever. I was a kid back then. I wasn't a particularly smart kid, but I was probably on the onset of a crush, so you can excuse what I did in this example of my childhood stupidity. I grabbed my scissors, pressed it against my arm's skin, and dug in, and drew blood. You guys are allowed to click off if you want. I pushed it forward until I formed the shape I wanted. Letter by letter, I carved your name into my arm. Just so you know, I don't regret that. Don't get me wrong, kid power might have made me do it, but sure as hell didn't make the pain go away. It's one of the most painful experiences of my life. But even then, as a kid, I thought that was happening to you was unfair. I remember how your eyes looked when you saw that. The confusion, how strange it was that anyone would want to remember. I remember that so clearly. When I woke up the next day and saw your name on my arm, I remembered you. I didn't forget. That day, for the first time, we had a conversation that wasn't so one-sided. You said no one ever done anything like that before and suggested I might have a mental illness. I won't deny it. That drew a little blood. As we talked, a creeping thought came into my head. Did you prefer it when I didn't remember? That night, I was sitting up on my bed, staring at your name on my arm, wondering if I should cover it up, or if I could see it and give you back your privacy, when I heard a crash. I looked up to see my bedroom window shattered and a dirty rock on the floor. I looked out the cracked window, see a dark figure on my lawn. You were outside yelling about how we should hang out. It took me a while to get used to how bad you were at talking to people. Years without practice made you quite a bit rusty. That was alright. You had a lot of time. For the next 2 years, we spent most of our free time together. Most of the time, you talked. You would tell me an aspect of your life and how you lived. You still stayed in your house. Your parents never noticed the food that had gone missing, never noticed the extra room, or that you'd stolen the extra keys. One night, I confided in you that I was beginning to think you were part of my imagination, Fight Club style. After all, what could you do to me that I couldn't do to myself? You spent the next month or so trying to leave bite marks on your ear or neck. Wait, hold on, wait, huh? I have to go back a second. You spent the next month or so trying to leave bite marks on my ear or neck to prove the point. I still have a few scars on my ear, so I guess you did. Looking back, I could see the warning signs even then. Your skin seemed to get worse and worse, paler and paler, and you'd rubbed your eyes raw. It was a winter we had our wake-up call. The morning began like any other. I woke up, brushed my teeth, started searching for clothes to wear. It was a winter morning, and my room was dark, so I didn't see your name on my arm. The cold sent shivers through my body and pulled out a long-sleeve jacket. A small bell rang in my head. Don't you usually roll up your sleeve? Yeah. Why did I? That was annoying. I finished tidying up and heading to school. On the school bus, I felt oddly content. Like something I had been worrying about just disappeared. I walked up the school stairs, down the hall, through my classroom door, and sat down at my desk. The same feeling of a burden forgotten hounded my mind. What was I forgetting? When recess came, I just sat at my desk while my classmate ran out. It felt like a ritual, but I didn't know what for. I was contemplating just walking out to join them when I heard it. It was something small in the wind, like a whisper, but it came over and over, incessant. It sounds like my name. I knew it was strange, that this was worth my attention. But I felt oddly calm. Everything would be alright. Everything would be fine. Just ignore it. I sat there at my desk, my mind war zone between two conflicting, contradictory voices, when I felt a force tugging on my sleeve. The moment I noticed this, the jacket sleeve tore open. I saw your name on my arm, and then your hand. You ripped my jacket open. You've been yelling at me for over 20 minutes. Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. I appreciate that. You didn't have to do that. Thank you. I think that was the moment we realized how on edge our friendship really was, one accident away from complete erasure. We spent most of the next year in town library together, trying to find out what the fireflies were. It wasn't really a problem for me because of my mother's treatment. My family couldn't afford to go on any trips, and our house didn't have heating anymore, so I was happy to spend time with you. Trying to find information was a puzzle in of itself, after all. How would I read about people I couldn't remember? And how would you find out who was special when no one even remembered enough about them to record them? Oh my gosh. That was a puzzle to read. We found our old family tree and records. Individually, we'd write down the name of everyone in the book on 2 lists. And then we would compare. The names I hadn't remembered to write down, but you had, would become the focus. They were the names who were under the curse of the fireflies. We compiled a list of suspicious books we thought could help us, because they were written by or were about the people we were searching for. I read the books with the list of names side by side, reading it again for every page of the book. We scoured the internet on the library computers on the lookout for articles about the people. Our search would lead us to the first glimpse we got of what really happened to you. It was late at night when you found the picture. I was a bit drowsy at the time, and almost about to nod off when I heard a sharp intake of breath. I turned to see you standing up, pointing at the screen. I didn't see anything. Well, anything noteworthy on the screen was a picture of a clearing somewhere in the woods. You held your piece of paper where you marked out 2 names. Susie Appleby Reagan, 13. Terry Appleby Reagan, 12. Siblings. For a moment, I saw the paper and the screen side by side, and then I saw them. 2 figures emerging from the woods towards the camera. They were almost humanoid, with the exception of their limbs, which stretched to nightmarish proportions. Their blank white skin was that of pure albino, and didn't look more like tree bark than anything you'd expect to find on a mammal. A cloud of fireflies surrounded the duo. The shorter one looked emaciated. I could see their ribcage around which their eyes, God, their eyes, so small, so red. The taller one, with its white hair, didn't look alive anymore. There were little more than skin wrapped around a skeleton. Fireflies swarmed out of the pair's empty eye sockets, both reaching for the cameraman. I looked at the article surrounding the picture. It was a blog post by a hiker, 20 years after the last mention of the 2 kids. The picture was a mystery to the cameraman as well. He had been wanting to go to the woods, pictured for a while now, but he never actually remembered going there. The picture had just appeared on his camera one day, out of the blue. Good lord. For a moment I looked at your face, your thin, pale face with those red, veined eyes. Would that be you when my scar faded? Just a walking horror I'd glimpse then forget. We worked through our reading list as much faster pace from that moment. Maybe we should have gone slower. At least every book, every website we left untouched promised hope. The books that we finished and tossed aside promised nothing but the clearing in the woods as one's future. And we tossed aside a lot of books. I believe I tore through 3/4 of my reading list before I stumbled across the journal. Oh god, that horrible, horrible journal. The journal I used belonged to a mental patient named Joey, who claimed to be a serial killer. He was locked in an asylum when the police discovered his supposed victims never existed. He was diagnosed with a need for attention and shoved away. They should have electrocuted him. They should have fried him until his flesh melted and his hair burned. In the journal, he talked about how he carried out his killings. He knew things, bizarre and disturbing things no one else knew. He knew strange creatures that lived in the woods. One of them, his favorites, were the fireflies. I'm not going to tell you how he summoned these things. I trust you. I trust you more than anyone. But a thing like this belongs to the ground more than it ever will to the human mind. In the end, it's sufficient to know that these things were not fireflies. Joey would start his ritual by taking a kid, anyone he pleased. He would take them at any time, in the dead of night from their own homes, or in broad daylight from their front yard. It didn't matter if he was seen. He'd take them to his house and drag them inside. Usually, an Amber Alert came up at this point. He didn't care. Like I said, it wouldn't matter soon. He'd drag them to the special room in his house. Here, the fireflies would come and latch onto them. Now, nobody was searching for the kids. Not the police, not the parents, nobody. From then on, he could do whatever he wanted to the kids. He got bored of them after a day or two. After the child had broken, at that point he disposed of them. Hacksaw, kitchen knife, anything would work. He detailed a large pit of bodies and kept it in the woods, swarming with bugs. One day, he got bored of that too, so he went right to the police station and turned himself in. Not on account of guilt, no. He just wanted someone to know about his stuff he was doing. Sick bastard. But don't get the wrong idea. He never stopped killing kids. The asylum doors didn't stop him from doing what he liked. It just made him improvise. He made a new way. He modified the flies so they could survive without a host, just in a dormant state. When a child, parentheses, he specified the age, would approach the swarm, it would latch on and begin its effect. Over the years, the child would warp horribly into things we saw in the woods. I wish I could have him in peace. I wish I could say the world owed him nothing. But that wouldn't be true. He detailed a way out. On the final page, there was an exact explanation on how to get rid of the fireflies. You must have seen something in my face, because at that moment, you asked if I found anything. I said no and closed the book. A few minutes later, you shut down the computer, you picked up the last book, and went through it yourself. When you reached the end cover, you tossed it aside. I asked what we should do. You said it was alright, I could go home. We'd talk about it in the morning. I stood up and walked past the shelves of books. I headed for the library entrance and stopped right outside the door and waited. I waited until I heard a sniffling sound. I sneaked back to our table, where you quietly sobbing. You had your head in your hands. I sat back down as you raised your eyes to me. You said you wish you never met me. How happy you were when you had nothing to lose. How I ruined your life. Never really gotten better at talking to people. That was the worst love confession I'd ever heard. I remember how we kissed that night. I remember your hand gripping my hair. I remember that kiss. I wish it could have been just a kiss. I'm sorry I ruined that moment when my arms were around you. I was close enough to steal a firefly without you noticing. I remember holding the firefly in my hand. I remember how it struggled until it didn't, until it was part of me. The firefly shifted and came over to me and left you. I remember the familiar look in your eyes, the confusion. I never wanted to see that confusion in your eyes again. You deserve to be loved, and you deserve to know that. I wasn't really living anyway. You reached for me, I pulled away, and the last light of recognition faded from your eyes. And then you were just staring at a stranger, walking away into a crowd of strangers. That was a year ago. You've gotten so much better since then. You have so many friends now. So many people at your birthday party. You also look so much healthier. I haven't been as fortunate. My skin's gotten a lot paler and my eyes hurt all the time now. I couldn't go to school like you did all those years. I haven't wasted my time though. I found Joey's pit. The bodies were so many bodies. There were so many bodies. There's a grave for those children now. Without me, my mom could afford her surgery. She looked so happy. Just yesterday, I saw her playing with my baby brother. I saw you crying yesterday. You were with your friends, laughing. For a brief moment, your eyes met mine, and then... they were so wet. I think I'm going away, for good, I think. You're not going to be happy if I stick around. I'm so happy I met you, even if you don't remember me. Note end. Sometimes I go through depressive episodes. I feel so lonely, even with my friends. I don't know what's going through my head during these times. And sometimes I'd end up in a bathtub, a knife in my hand, and my wrist bleeding. Until now, I thought I was cutting my wrist. I wasn't. The cuts. They're letters. I've been carving my name into my arm. Okay. Let's discuss. You guys are smart. You people are smart. Why is she carving her own name into her arm? I thought she was cured. I need some answers. Let's see. Was it nonchalant? No, it's not that one. Hello, I'm back. Welcome back, question mark. How romantic indeed. Hello. Chat, you get a girl that'll curve your name into their arm. Hi, welcome in. Oh, good lord, so many people showed up while I was busy. If you're still here, hi. Okay. Hi, I see everyone. Hi, MD, welcome, and Kuhaku, you as well. Story. Will you press the button gone wrong, LMAO? How is this will you press the button-ish? How is it? You should not believe your eyes if 10 million fireflies... Oh, I didn't even think about that song, dang. Let's see. Was it really her own name? If I read it again. Until now, I thought I was cutting my wrist. I wasn't. The cuts. They're letters. I've been carving... Oh, a name, not my name. Never mind. That's a problem on my end. Okay. But... Okay, so... She finished writing out this note and posting this note on Creepypasta. Let's pretend this is real, right? She found this note in her yard. She transcribed it, put it all here on creepypasta.com, and she's carving a name into her arm. She doesn't tell us anything else? Save your friend! Save your friend! You guys get to kiss again if you guys are both alive at the same time. Just give her fireflies to somebody else. Kissy emoji. Mwah, speaking of kissing, I guess. The firefly character disappeared from everyone else's memory. Yeah, that makes sense, but like... Now she has that guy's name because it's in her arm. So she should remember now. She should remember this plus all the like context within the note. She should remember now. She should do something to fix this problem. I find someone who is about to die anyway and give them the fireflies. Exactly! Exactly. And then, instead of dying a normal human death, they get to be a creature in the woods. And I think if I was about to die, if I had the option to die a peaceful death, or to be a creature in the woods, I think I'd pick to be a creature in the woods. I think I'd pick to be a creature in the woods. She should fix the cutting first, LMAO? Well, I guess, yeah. She probably should do that. But if she does that, then she's gonna forget about the guy. Then she's gonna forget about Firefly Man. Become a sheep? Become a sheep? I already am a sheep. What are you talking about? Or became a sheep? I don't think the creatures they were describing were very sheep-like. But maybe that would be a good alternative, yeah. Alright. Make a few adjustments here. God. Okay, so I like the first one a lot more than this one. And coming out of the first story, I kept rating stuff. And I kept thinking it was the first story still. I'm changing my sitting position, hold on. I kept thinking it was the first story still. So I was like, man, story takes place over the course of like 1 billion centuries. Good lord. Being a creature in the woods sounds cool because there are all sorts of creature. Yeah, TSKR. I did yawn, I think. I think that makes sense. Also, there's 35 people here at 4:30 a.m. Aw, man. You guys are dedicated. How'd you guys get here? How'd you guys wake up so early? I know how I did. I had an alarm. I had 2 alarms. I had one at 2 and one at 2:30. And I stayed in bed until 2:30, then I got ready. Usually wake up at this time. I see. Gotcha. There's stories which is about people becoming monster and then they start an outbreak. Well, like by infecting other people, like zombies. It's about 6 p.m. for me. Gotcha. A lot of people are from not America here. Also, the gifted memberships, you didn't have to do that. Thank you. If anyone got gifted membership and you're not too shy, please do say thank you, because that's really generous of MDA. It's 13:23 here, International Sheepy. International. Thank you for that. I love you, Gift Cryo. Thank you. I love you too. Can we get some Essie whispers? Okay. You want me to whisper? Okay. Yeah, I'm whispering now. I don't know what I'm supposed to say. We talk about survival of the fittest a lot, but all it really means is skill of the unskilled die, since you're clearly in that second group. Maybe pick your fights a bit more carefully. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's never going to matter how much you want it when you're up against someone who can kill you with a sneeze. Yes, heart emoji. I'm glad that you liked it. Thank you. Yeah, somewhat, but space zombie. That sounds even scarier. I guess, does space zombie really matter if there's nobody in space? How big of a problem is that? And kissy emoji. Mwah, there you go. Daily gifties, as I don't think I can support you from Streamlabs. Yeah, no problem. I appreciate it. Thank you. And suddenly Yandere ASMR AO. Sorry. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to say. I don't think I can. No problem. Okay, so that was a 9.09 out of 10. Honestly, I'd give this like a 7 at most. It was just kind of okay. It was alright. Let's find a different story. So the Mind Mirror, the Seer of Possibilities, the Melancholy of Herbert Solomon. Is that a real person? Bedtime? Maybe we should read Bedtime. A Shattered Life. Don't Let Them In. Maybe we'll look up Bedtime. Bedtime's a 9.09 as well. You can search the story about Private Jenkins. Maybe later. The author sounded painfully underage, TBH. Yeah. Alright, this came out in 2012, October 11th, so it's just about this story's 2012 is how many years ago? 12? It's about this story's 12th anniversary. Or birthday or something. Spooky, I guess. So horrifying. About Firefly, you suffering, and no one will not remember you to care. I guess it is kind of scary, but I don't know. I think it could have been executed in a way that makes it sound less dumb. I think that's a possibility. 77 minutes of reading? 57 minutes of reading? Good lord, they wrote a novel! We're not gonna read this. We're not reading that. Sorry, no bedtime for us. Don't Let Them In. A Shattered Life. Sadie. Mr. Widemouth. Hero Brian. I know that one. We were talking about Minecraft earlier. Was that foreshadowing? Artificial. The Devil Game. Where's Don't Let Them In? What are we not letting in? I'm intrigued. 18 minutes of reading, which is 13 minutes of reading. It should be about the same length as the Firefly one. And Kenshin, welcome into the stream. Have you been? Thanks for liking. I appreciate that. Welcome. Wait, what do I get if I press random story, actually? Page not found? It's because I opened it in a new tab. The random button just doesn't work. No. Fix your website, creepypasta. Good lord. It sounds good. Alright. So Don't Let Them In. May 28th, 2019. Drugs and addiction. Children and childhood. Madness. Oh, I gotta McAfee pop-up ad. On the entire website? Oh my god, that's annoying. I had to press the back button. Ugh. So, children and childhood, madness, paranoia, mental illness, suspense and thriller, addictions, alcoholics, alcoholism, child abuse, childhood, children, domestic abuse, drugs, kids, Maddie Kate, which is, I think, the author. Yeah, it's the author. Mental illness, mothers, parents, substance abuse, suspense. Those are the tags for this one. Wallace Jenkins' story is about a soldier getting down to ancient futuristic structures, which contains a biologic weapon, which gets unleashed and starts to infect. Well, Wallace and Gromit is about a guy who has a dog and he likes cheese. I love the BGM switch, by the way. It's such a whiplash. It is, yeah. Let's see, vertically, that's part of your name, my bad. Just returned from uni? Gotcha. Almost forgot the existence of the app until I see your stream notification. I see. Well, no problem. Happy to have you here. Blazing Fire, thank you for stopping by again, too. I appreciate that. Okay, I'm gonna get a sip of water, and then we're gonna start reading. I love Wallace and Gromit, also Shaun the Sheep. Oh dang, you sent that twice. You like it that much? Whoa! Okay. So this is a 9.08 out of 10 from 2,190. Wait, that's a lot. Hold on. 2.19k votes. I'll say that. That's easier. A story that belongs to Halo, a game franchise, or a story. I remember Halo. I used to play Halo Reach with my brother and my cousin. That was a long time ago now. Okay, let's start reading. Now, a warning. I will not be looking at chat during this. I will see you when the story is done. Oh, I need to change the background music. That's better. Okay. Good morning, Orange. Just about to start. Okay. Don't let them in. Addiction took our mother slowly, rocking her through it and sung her to sleep, sunk deep into the mattress of her bed. When her back teeth fell out, she left them on the side of the bathtub. I was 7, and I kept them in a matchbox. The missing pieces of her kept safe so that she wouldn't be lost forever. So maybe one day we could put her back together. Our house fell around us. Oh, good lord. Our house fell around us. We tried our best to raise ourselves. The ceiling had water damage. The bottom stairs had dry rot. And in the winters, the radiators bled rust. But it was still our house, and Annie made it a home. My sister Annie mothered me, with lopsided band-aids on bruised knees and lukewarm microwave meals. She told me ghost stories and didn't mind when I crawled into her bed later on, too scared to sleep alone. She taught me to dance barefoot on the living room carpet, music channel on full volume on the TV, shaking our pre-adolescent hips. She always let me shower first, so I could enjoy the hot water. Never complained when she had to make do with the cold. She brushed my hair every day before school, even when I screamed and hit her and she caught the tangles. Annie was dark-haired like her father, whoever he had been. But I was blonde. Annie was desperate to be blonde too, like Marilyn Monroe. Like Mom, I think she thought it would make them closer. I remind Mom less of her dad. I'd give anything for her to have her hands in my hair one more time, even if it hurt. She moved to New York when I turned 18 and never came back. I still dream about her sometimes. Keeping up with our mother was impossible, and we learned from a young age that we would always be left behind. It didn't make it any easier. When she was drinking light, she was radiant and would wake up at 3 a.m. with pancakes dripping in cherry syrup. Sometimes, when the weather was right and she'd had enough being drunk alone, she would call our school up and tell them that we'd both come down with summer sickness and we'd drive to the beach instead. I remember being 9 years old in the back seat of the car, coming home after one of our ocean days, sucking the salt from my fingers. Annie had just dyed her hair blonde. her best friend Jane helping her bend over the kitchen sink. From behind, I could tell who was the mother and who was the daughter. Radio up and windows down, blowing the sky inside. When she was drinking heavily, she'd be out all night, hair piled up like a beauty queen, eyes glazed up and ringed with glitter and black. Sometimes she'd gone a day or two. She would never give us advance notice. One day, she'd just wake up to an empty house, and on the fridge, packed full of post-it notes on its door, complete with a smear of Mom's lipstick on the outline of a kiss, telling us she'd be back soon. Sometimes she'd bring guys home, filling the table with beer cans and ashtrays, smoke up to the ceiling. Mom lost in the haze. She slept with pillows over her, or we would sleep with pillows over our heads, trying to drown out the music they would blast all night, and wake up to strangers in our kitchen table in the morning, asking us where we kept the coffee. When Mom drank too little, she fell apart. She wouldn't buy food. The refrigerator went bare. She'd chain smoke, leaving cigarette burns on the wallpaper up to the stairs, like the walls were sick and decaying. She barely slept, walking around with blue half-moons under her eyes, knuckles raw. She'd scream at the slightest things. I remember once, when I spilled a glass of juice on the couch, she looked over at me with dead eyes and dragged me off onto the carpet, and then took every single cushion on the couch and into the backyard and set them on fire. Annie went to watch a while from the window, and then sat next to me on the floor, backs pressed against the skeleton of the seats, then head resting on the crater of my collarbone. It was the worst when Mom drank too much. She laughed too loudly and too long, and anything and everything, until her mouth started to shake. She began to cry until her cereal at the breakfast table. Annie shut down when Mom was like this, going somewhere deep inside herself where no one could hurt her. She'd stay up until morning watching old black and white movies on TV, whispering the lines she knew by heart like prayer. When I was 5 years old, I'd cry when I'd find Mom passed out on her bed, sure she would never wake up. Annie would wipe away my tears and tell me she was only sleeping, like the princess in my storybook. We'd sit on Mom's bed together and wait for her to wake up. When we were older, I was the one who would pick Mom up off the bathroom floor again and again, and Annie would put her on bed, smoothing her hair off her face, wiping the vomit from her mouth, and changing her clothes if she pissed herself. Watching them then, there was no doubt that Annie was the mother now. It was October, and I was 13, Annie 16. It was a Wednesday night, and Mom had been gone for 2 days. She had called us that morning from a payphone, voice slurring, telling us she was having the best time with all her new friends, that she hoped we were doing fine. When she asked me if I was having a good birthday, I hung up on her. My birthday had been a day before. Annie had given me a pile of presents, strawberry lip gloss, glittery nail polishes. I didn't ask where she'd gotten the money for. I didn't care. She'd taken the bus to the beach with Jane and ate the birthday cake she made for me. Sand getting into the frosting, it tasted like sweetness and the sea, and I savored every bite and scrape of sugar against my teeth. We watched the sun go down, Annie snapping grainy photos on her Nokia as I blew out my candles, wishing over and over that Mom wouldn't come home, that she'd stay gone this time. For that Wednesday night, Annie and I weren't speaking. Anger hung heavily between us, slipping through the floorboards. It began when she tripped at the bottom of the stairs. We both laughed, Annie throwing her head back, the gap between her front teeth catching the light. When I'd bent to pick her up, I felt her breath warm against the freckles on my cheeks. I let go of her arm, and she fell again, hitting the floor and grinning, shaking her hair from her face. Her breath was heavy with whiskey. I couldn't start picking her up. I couldn't catch her fall again and again, just like Mom. I knew she'd never get back up. I stared down at her, blonde hair hanging over her eyes, and all I could see was our mother. Then I was running, feet slamming the hallway like heartbeats turned loose. I'd run for the kitchen and tipped every bottle we had down the sink, shoving Annie back as she fought to stop me, catching liquor on her fingers as it fell. She grabbed my shoulder and made me drop the very last bottle. It smashed between us on the floor. Glass shards shining like we were dragging the stars out of the sky and broken them, like pieces we could never put back. Outside, through the open window, the sky turned pale gold. The clouds, a mess of pink and cream, smeared across the horizon. I cried then, watching my sister on her knees picking up the pieces. And that was Annie, always trying to fix things even when it was too late. The smell of food dragged me from my room. My stomach turned, traitor inside my ribcage. Annie was cooking pasta, real food, not made in a microwave. She set the table, Tammy Wynette singing softly from the CD player. Annie gently swayed her hips as she stirred the tomato sauce, rich and warm, as we ate in silence. I forgave her more with every bite. Mom never cooked dinner, never remembered my favorite had been spaghetti, since my favorite food's spaghetti too. Remember my favorite had been spaghetti since I was a kid, and never stayed sober long enough to sit up at a table. Annie wasn't Mom. We were washing the dishes when we first heard it. A moth was crawling down the inside of the pane, and I cracked the window to let it into the dark. In from the dark. From my backyard came a faint sound. I tilted my head to listen to it. Coming from far off, crying. I figured it was Mika, the 2-year-old next door, having a tantrum loud enough for us to catch, or maybe even Lucky Strike, the cat that belonged to the junkies down the street, begging for food, like she did sometimes. I always wanted to feed him when he came around, winding over my ankles, but Annie always stopped me, saying once you start giving, they never stop talking, or taking. Looking back, I didn't think she was talking about the cat. Annie flipped the Christmas lights strung around the porch, and we sat on the plastic beach chairs watching the sky. When we were little, we'd sit outside, and Annie would tell me the names of the constellations and stories of how they came to be hung up in the night sky. I had to grow up before I realized she made them all up as she went along. It was a game we still like to play now, making up ridiculous stories for the shapes we could pick out. Yes, that one there is the Coors Light. It got there when God dropped it out of his convertible window and never picked it up, she said, nodding sagely? Is sagely a real word? And hiding her smile. Of course, I said, waving my hands and pointing up, past the power lines, right next to the ashtray left there by the angels on a smoke break. Yeah. They say if you wish on it, all your dreams will come true, said Annie with a grin. Then she stopped laughing, and her voice grew quiet, face tilted up at those dead stars. Let's wish, Emmy, let's wish. So we did. The sound of wailing interrupted us. It was closer this time, and definitely human. We turned to another in confusion, and he shrugged. I squinted into the black. It sounded like a baby, lost, tired, and alone. It must be Mika, I said, slowly getting to my feet. Maybe we walked around the back? Or maybe he walked around the back? Do you want to call Connie and call her to bring him over? Annie didn't reply. I sighed and rolled my eyes. Okay, I guess I'll have to do everything then. I stepped off the porch. Grass soft against my heels. The air smelled like it might rain, fresh and clean and growing. A promise unfulfilled. Annie's voice was strained. I turned to her with a smile. It died on my face when I saw the look of her own. Get inside now. She was staring out into the dark past me, opening the door with one hand behind her, fingers fumbling on the latch. I froze, barefoot in the dirt. I'd glimpsed what she was looking at. In the bush by the back fence, someone was crouching on their knees, tucked up neatly under his chin. His arms wrapped around his legs. His mouth was agape, softly opening and closing as he cried, like a child, lost in the dark. No, not like a child. More like someone pretending, mimicking the sound under the cover of darkness. Suddenly they straightened their back, snapping upright, face still obscured by shadow. They were tall and slim, extraordinarily thin by human standards. Panic made me move, carried forward by animal instincts left over from a time when people still lived in nature. I was faster than Annie, dragging her inside and slamming the door behind us. Hearing it bounce on its hinges as it locked. We watched as the person slowly approached the house with long, deliberate strides. Annie reached for my hand, holding me tight and turning me to face her, holding my shoulders. "Don't turn around, Emmy. Don't turn around." Instinctively, I started to look over my shoulder into the gloom. Annie grabbed my face hard and shook her head. I knew then she was serious. Her voice cracked. And she cleared her throat, gripping my hand tight enough to hurt, nails digging in, grounding herself. I looked down at our interlocked fingers, both of us born of the same bones. "I'm going to call the cops, and everything is going to be..." Her voice faltered, stuttering, tears spilling over the lashes. And he never cried. "Your phone's on the porch," she whispered, and bile crawled its way up my throat. Her phone was upstairs, charging. A soft tap-tap-tapping filled the silence. Annie turned wide-eyed to the window. It was the sound of someone's forehead slowly and repeatedly bumping against the glass. And then the blows accelerated, gaining in both speed, strength, skin-meeting glass until they were slamming into the window hard enough to shake the panes. A moment later, the tapping stopped. I was about to ask Annie if I could look now, when she screamed, followed by a sound of cracking glass as a tremendous crash. Whoever was in our yard had just smashed their face hard enough into the window to shatter it. We ran upstairs, 2 steps at a time, skipping the rotted ones out of habit. I turned to look behind me once, and Annie yanked my face back before I could see. The sound of glass breaking echoed behind us as we made it to the bathroom and locked the door. A weak, mewling cry, like that of an infant calling for its mother, filled the hallway, entrapped between the walls and the entryways. Annie threw her back against the door, feet jamming up against the bathtub, clenching a knife she had grabbed from the kitchen. I joined her. Shoulder to shoulder, we did the same. Slow footsteps started up the stairs, calculated and casual. The crying took on a mocking quality, resembling laughter, arriving in short, shrill bursts of sound followed by high-pitched giggling, and then silence, only to start again a moment later. The first door on the upstairs floor was my bedroom. We heard the distinct sound of it slamming open. They were looking for us. "What the fuck is going on?" I asked Annie, not even bothering to brush away the tears I couldn't keep from falling. I watched my sister pick herself up the floor and brace her hands on the door as she heard the sound of a second door slamming. Mom's room. The next room on the hallway was the bathroom. Annie pulled me to my feet and handed me the knife. I shook my head and pushed it back to her, terrified of what would happen if I had to use it. Annie shoved me and pressed the knife into my hands. The thumb pressed hard along the edge to draw blood. I watched a winding road of crimson rivulets cascading down her wrist. In spite of the pain, Annie continued pushing the blade into my hands. Finally, I took it from her. Something slammed against the wall that Mom's room shared with the bedroom. A high-pitched howl followed. I held my breath and felt my heart beating frantically in the base of my throat. I'm gonna get the phone from my room," my sister said. I shook my head dramatically in protest. Before I could say a word, Annie clamped a hand over my mouth. I could taste the blood on her hands, salty and sweet, like birthday cake by the ocean. "Yes, I'm gonna get the phone. I'm going to call the cops. We're going to be okay." I shook my head again. "It's the only way," Annie insisted. "When I go, I need you to lock the door, and I don't want you to open it. For anything or anyone. Not for me, not for anyone. Promise me." I shook my head, and Annie pressed her hand against my mouth, pushing my teeth against my lips and forcing it made my eyes water. "Promise me, Em." Something smashed into the room next door. Annie brushed the hair from my face and gently tucked it behind my ear. "Promise," she mouthed, and unlocked the door as slowly as possible. The bolt scraping gently. I watched the curve of her shoulder disappear into the darkened hall, like the moon in the eclipse. And then she was gone. I couldn't move or breathe for a second. And then I slammed the bolt shut just as something bounced off the outside of the door. A high-pitched scream ensued, followed by the handle rattling up and down hard enough to pop a screw loose. I watched it roll towards me on the tiles, and then everything went still. I sat with my back to the door, holding the knife and wishing I was holding Annie's hand instead. The silence continued. For a moment, the only sound was that of my breath slowly filling the room. A voice broke the illusion of solitude. A familiar voice came through the door. Startled, I gripped the knife even more firmly than before. Honey, what's going on? Mom? My voice cracked. Mom, is that you? I wrapped my arms around myself to keep from shaking. Sweetie, it's okay, just open the door. It's okay, just let me in. The handle rattled again, gentler this time. Just let me in, it's all okay. She banged impatiently on the door, and I took the handle from the bolt. Honey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I missed your birthday. I'm sorry I'm such a terrible mother. Please, her voice broke. She started to cry. Just let me in, baby, I'm sorry. I screwed my eyes shut. She sounded so sad and so lost. I just wanted her to hold me like she did when I was a kid. When I'd come in with a scraped knee after falling off the swing. Maybe this time she meant it. Perhaps it would be okay. My hand found its way to the bolt again. My sister's voice came through the door. Warm and gentle. Yeah, Emily. Let us in, it's all okay. My hand froze on the bolt, and I tightened my grip on the weapon. Annie never called me by my full name. My hand banged on the door, handle rattling. Emily, let us in. Annie's voice became low and guttural, followed by the same shrill giggles from before. Mom spoke now, pleading and crying, her voice growing louder and louder. Let us in, let us in, let us in. She shouted over and over again, punctuated by her fist on the door. I thought about bedtime stories, and all the demons and monsters we pray never crawl out from under our beds. It's not my sister, and you're not my mother. I screamed through the door, hands over my head. I climbed into the bathtub, curled into a fetal position, and clutched the knife to my chest. I didn't know what was outside the door, but I knew it wasn't Annie. It wasn't the voice that scolded me whenever I changed the TV channel, the one that sang me happy birthday, the one that told me I was smart even when I got bad grades, the one that read me stories about princesses that never wake up. It wasn't human. Bangs and yells came from downstairs, followed by the footsteps of people running. A low guttural howl ripped through the house, filling the room until I felt like I was drowning in the sound. And then the door was kicked in. I screamed, covered my eyes, and waited to die. A moment later, arms found me, lifted me up from the tub, and carried me from the room. I looked at the outside of the door as it was taken downstairs. Its exterior was covered in long, scraping claw marks, scratching the door. I found the hallway covered in soft, downy remains of torn-up pillows, making it appear as if it had snowed indoors. I watched the tiny feathers drift slowly as men in uniforms checked each of the rooms that looked like they had been ripped apart by something feral. Outside, police cars and ambulances waited in our driveway, and there, in the middle of it all, was Annie, bathed in blue and red lights, glowing in the dark like a neon angel. I threw myself from the officer's shoulder and ran to her. Then I held us both together, broken pieces and all, standing under all those constellations we'd concocted, muffled screaming from the ambulance, which rocked occasionally. Annie gently turned my head away, smiling so sadly it made my chest ache. I understood. It turns out there was no demon, no wild animal, or bad man were trying to break in. It was just Mom, out of her mind on booze, drugs, and everything in between. Coming to the end of the week-long binge. That's not a comma, never mind, it's the end of the sentence, ignore that. Something had finally broken inside her head, and this time, she couldn't put her back together no matter how hard we tried. Sometimes, you fall one last time and then never get back up. OMG, I'm dead listening to this. Sorry, I'm supposed to only read the story, my bad. Annie had seen her rail-thin frame in the garden, blood dribbling from her mouth, track marks bulging from her forearm like unmapped roads. Desperate for one more hit, one more fix. She'd searched the kitchen for all the alcohol I'd thrown away, and when she hadn't found any, she went hunting for the stash hidden in the bathroom. She hadn't wanted me, just the drugs on the counter side of the door. She'd been so high she was able to mimic Annie's voice nearly perfectly. The real monsters are the ones that eat you alive, slowly. The kind that come in a bottle or a needle, or at the end of a long list of reasons why you can't get out of bed in the morning. Sometimes the monsters are the ones that raise you, or love you the most. But it's up to you to let them in. And the story's done. I'm gonna take my leave for now. See you in the next stream. And please say hi to Check for me. Thank you. Okay, Check. Kenshin says hi. Story done. Okay. Well, rip. OMG, I'm dead. Listen, this kitty. Yeah, there was a kitty. And Sleeping Taco. Welcome. What the actual? I don't remember what that is towards. Scary. Essie. So scary. Oh, speaking of scary. There we go. That music's a little better. Sounds similar to the Wendigo Till End. Hi, Kenshin. Oh, Check says hi, Kenshin. Oh, that made me sad? Yeah, that is really sad. That is really sad. Dang. I had a question originally, but I don't remember what it was. I think it had something to that... I think the question doesn't matter anymore. I think it was something like, yeah, why does all this backstory about the mother matter? I see it now. It was the mother, not a scary guy. So that makes sense. When I said that the story turned a bit incestuous, it didn't strike me. It didn't strike me as that personally. It didn't strike me as that. At what point? At what point? Let's see. I'll look through more stories too. Sadie, Mr. Widemouth, Hero Brian. That's a name. Turn it off. Artificial devil game. Oh, what about turn it off? What about turn it off? Lol. It's funny how it's not 3 AM here. For me it is, but not anymore. It's just about 5. It's almost 5 in the morning. So early. I'm usually like waking up at this time. 35 minutes of reading? No. No. Artificial. The guy on the cover looks familiar. I probably don't want to read that if it's something I've already read before. Survival guide. Beneath the Veil of Shadow. I saw veil in the title. I was like, oh my god, is there a Pierce the Veil creepypasta? I'm so stupid. Demented Marionette. The Living History Project. Pen drown and... or that one, Among the Wolves. Distorted warning. Why describe how she bent over? Or how she swayed her hips in explicit detail? I think it's just writers trying to make things sound less boring. I think that's what it is. I'm already awake at this time, thinking about you, anticipating your stream. Oh man, there's 1 whole hour until Lucilla streams. I hope she rested well. Oh, the fairies? We read the fairies? What about the fairies? 29 minutes? No, I'm not gonna read that. What about survival guide? What are we surviving? 6 minutes. Oh, this is a short one. Okay, we can read this. Maybe it was really Slender Man and Annie didn't make it. Maybe it was Slender Man. All right. Let's read survival guide. It's only 4 minutes. They always give you 2 estimates. There's one at the top that says 6. The one at the bottom says 4. Oh, I got the web page, entire full page ad again. This sucks. Alright. Especially knowing who the primary audience for creepypasta is, I have to dig my heels in and say it was kinda a... I can understand that logic. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm gonna take a sip of water here. That water was pretty tasty. Now for some tea. Okay, let's have a nice short one. See you guys in like 4 minutes. Let's change the music. Bam. Survival guide. We've all been there. We've just gone to a certain place at a certain time, on a certain date, done a special thing, and the thing you suspected would happen has just fucking happened. Not to mention the fact that you've just seen whatever the fuck it is live in your mirror. There ain't no need for all the language. It's okay. And told in detail how you're going to die. And the highly demonic and invincible thing you summoned is heading towards you. Also, your family are all dead. Your family are all missing, and you've been framed by someone with access to your bedroom. I'm just gonna start replacing all the F words with saying heck instead. You gotta be tasteful, you can't just put it in every sentence. What the heck do you do now, sweet protagonist? Well, you come to the right place to find out. There's simple rules one must follow in order to firstly not become the victim of creepypasta, and furthermore, to come out kicking if the worst does happen. With the help of this guide, you too can be the catatonic, traumatized wreck as opposed to the guy currently being worn as a coat by some dude who roams a lot. Just keep these simple rules in mind. 1. Mirrors and darkness don't mix. 2. Actually, mirrors are a general no in creepypasta world. There's nothing more sinister. There's a 0 chance of survival if you look at the thing that no one else can see or answer its question incorrectly. 4. If you're alone at night in a creepy mental institution, take some time to consider what the heck are you doing there, then, if it's the appropriate to do so, leave. 5. Avoid going to places where everyone else who went there never came back or died inexplicably. Is that what it says? Yeah, it is. Okay. It refreshed my page! Oh my god, I hate this website. 6. If someone stops your vehicle at night and asks to come with you, it would probably be in your best interest to politely decline. 7. Killing is the last method of survival. Use it sparingly, but without fear. 8. Who was phone is always a good thing to ponder. Also, who the hell answers a phone while kissing a dead person's sexy daughter? A douche is who? What are we talking about? 9. Get a simple 38 revolver, load it with 2 silver bullets. If you feel there is no chance to come alive out of the situation, take 1 shot at whatever is threatening you. If this doesn't work, you still have the last shot to become a hero with. 10. Area 51 is simply too well guarded to let you get in, or to let any alien out. 11. When going to a hotel, try to steer clear of unauthorized areas. If you couldn't resist, but you saw a red thing, and take some time to consider the price range and hotel standards at your next visit. Have you ever stayed at a haunted Hilton? 12. When booking your hotel stay, TripAdvisor can be an invaluable tool in deeming whether your choice is the scene of a multiple murder / full of dead / built at the mouth of hell. Local newspaper can also be helpful. 13. Invoking demons, speaking weird languages, and performing rituals of any kind is considered dangerous. Refrain from doing that, especially around abandoned warehouses, churches, psychiatric institutions, forests, and your house in front of a mirror at night. 14. When going to a new area, environmental understanding is a key to survival. Ask around for cursed places, legends, dangers, and other details. Listen to the local people's advice, and don't be afraid to ask if you're unaware of which attacks/disappearances are paranormal and which aren't. 15. Always have a Bible next to your bed. Provides average reading material, proof of beliefs, and a really heavy object to throw at enemies. 16. Don't count on holy water. Get a sturdy vial of sulfuric acid and let a priest concentrate it. 17. Japanese priests cleanse rooms by waving katana swords around. The ritual is 100% effective on corporeal forms. 18. If you find 666 messages on your phone, mailbox, email, etc., consider changing the said service provider. Also, don't bother listening / reading the messages. It's spam, extra dimensional possibly, but spam nevertheless. 19. Old pharmaceutical companies can't help you unless you specifically need blood of the innocent, snake oil, and radioactive syrup, which is never. 20. Censoring stories? Sorry, they need to use their words sparingly or I'm gonna censor them. You have to be tasteful. Berrigan, welcome in. Sorry, I had to take a break. Alright, back to reading. I'll get back to you guys soon. Alright, 20. If you need to sign it in blood, you do not need to sign it. All mainstream governing bodies will accept contracts signed in ink. Bear this in mind if you're offered a deal that seems too good to be true. 21. Lighthouses are dangerous. Avoid them at all costs. If you work at a lighthouse, consider a career in insurance sales or veterinary care. 22. My favorite number. There is simply no reason to listen to music that causes suicidal tendencies or to watch films that have had strange, disastrous consequences. 23. If you like to plan ahead and have some money, buy your auntie and uncle a house in Bel Air. Nothing can harm you there, no matter how scared your mother is. 24. Secret, secluded, untouched place in old buildings are left untouched for a reason. Pioneers never say die, but in fact they do have an unusually high mortality rate. 25. Before you start swimming in the ice-cold waters of a murky lake at the center of a dark forest at midnight, ask yourself, do you really want to travel to an ancient and terrifying city? If the answer is no, then stay at home instead and watch whatever quality programming is available on Cinemax. 26. On your 33rd birthday, try celebrating in a well-lit house with the company of others. 27. Refrain from using the one true name for anything. There is probably a reason people give it a nick. 28. Watching TV static for long periods may be hazardous to your health. Try satellite TV to combat this problem. 29. Get a cat. Those furry little hairballs seem to perceive unnatural phenomena better than us, and if desperate, simply throw it at whatever is about to get you. 30. Cemeteries are bad places, especially in foggy conditions and on Halloween. 31. Try not to close your eyes, ever. If you must, do only so briefly. 32. If you hear chanting, run until you are out of earshot. 33. If you are too old to play with dolls, you do not need to be anywhere near one of those creepy little things. I'm gonna keep censoring this guy. 34. Legends can offer valuable insight of where not to go camping with friends. 35. When babysitting, ascertain, is that the word? Ascertain the family's tastes and preferences to avoid being killed by poorly selected statues. 36. Even if you're certain that running will not save you, it'll always be best to try. Follow these simple rules and little, parentheses, or massive harm may befall you. Either way, the important thing is to make sure your tale is told, copied, and pasted repeatedly. Alright. That was a nice, pleasant little break there. Anyways, F-bombs are annoying when it's excessive though. Exactly. Oh, actually, let's turn off the scary music. There we go. We're all normal again. Especially knowing who the primary audience... Okay, got that one. Hello, Essie and chat. Happy Goosebumps Thursday. I love this thumbnail. Thank you. It was pretty bad. It's less bad now, but it's still really bad. It's still pretty bad. It was worse before. Not in the like, whoa, that's scary way, because I think it's impossible to make an image scary intentionally. But it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. Alright, the fairies. The fairies is too long, as intrigued as I am. The Arbinger experiment. The Sandman. The Tulpa. Lightning. An egg? What about an egg? 5 minutes of reading. 10.05. 4 minutes of reading. Maybe we'll read the egg next. I'm back. How is the copy pasta trope list? It was pretty normal. Just about what I expected it to be. And a nice little break. It's the shortest thing we've read so far, but I found another one that's supposed to be short. It's highly rated. I don't know if it's for good or for bad. It's called The Egg, or An Egg, instead of The Egg. Which seems a little odd, I guess. I don't imagine this will be very scary, but it's also short. It's also short, and I like that. Alright. Let's see. Thanks, Cecilia. I'll be on my way. Enjoy. Gotcha, Orange. Gotcha, gotcha. Of course. See you some other time, hopefully. Alright, let's read an egg. Here's our scary egg music. September 1st, 2012. Tags are strange and unexplained. And that's all. An egg. It was a car accident. Nothing particularly remarkable, but fatal nonetheless. Left behind a wife and 2 children. It was a painless death. The EMTs tried their best to save you, but to no avail. Your body was utterly shattered. You were better off, trust me. And that's when you met me. What happened, you asked. Where am I? You died, I said. Matter-of-factly, no point mincing words. There was a truck, and it was skidding. Yep, I said. I died? Yep. But don't feel bad about it. Everyone dies, I said. You look around. There is nothingness. Just you and me. What is this place? You asked. Is this the afterlife? More or less, I said. Are you God? I asked. Yep, I replied. I'm God. My kids. My wife, you said. What about them? Will they be alright? That what I like to see, I said. You just died and your main concern is for your family. That's good stuff right there. You looked at me with fascination. To you, I didn't look like God. I just looked like some man. Some vague authority figure. More of a grammar school teacher than the Almighty. Don't worry, I said. It'll be fine. Your kids will remember you as perfect in every way. They didn't have time to grow contempt for you. Your wife will cry on the outside. She'll be secretly relieved. To be fair, your marriage was falling apart. If it's any consolation, she'll feel very guilty for feeling relieved. Oh, you said. So what happens now? Do I go to heaven or hell or something? Neither, I said. You'll be reincarnated. Ah, you said. So the Hindus are right. All the religions are right in their own way, I said. Walk with me. You followed along as we strolled in the void. Where are we going? Nowhere in particular, I said. It's just nice to walk while we talk. So what's the point then? You ask. When I get reborn, I'll just be a blank slate, right? A baby. So all my experiences and everything I did in life won't matter. Not so, I said. You have within all the knowledge and experience of all your past lives. Just don't remember them right now. I stopped walking and took you by the shoulders. Your soul is more magnificent, beautiful, and gigantic than you can possibly imagine. A human mind could only contain a tiny fraction of what you are. It's like sticking your finger in a glass of water to see if it's hot or cold. You put a tiny part of yourself into the vessel. When you bring it back out, you've gained all the experience it had. You've been a human for the past 34 years, so you haven't stretched out yet and felt the rest of your immense consciousness. If we hung out here for longer, you'd start remembering everything. There's no point doing that between each life. How many times have I been reincarnated then? Oh, lots and lots, and into lots of different lives, I said. This time around, you'll be a Chinese peasant girl in 1540 AD. Wait, what? You stammered? You're sending me back in time? Well, I guess technically, time as you know it only exists in your universe. Things are different where I come from. Where you come from? You pondered. Oh, sure, I explained. I come from somewhere else. There are others like me. I know you want to know what it's like there, but you honestly won't understand. Oh, you said, a little down. But wait, if I get reincarnated to other places in time, could I have interacted with myself at some point? Sure, happens all the time. And with both lives only aware of their own time span, you don't even know it's happening. So what's the point of it all? Seriously? I asked. Seriously, you're asking me the meaning of life. Isn't that a little stereotypical? Well, it's a reasonable question, you persisted. I looked in your eyes. The meaning of life. The reason I made this whole universe is for you to mature. You mean mankind? You want us to mature? No. Just you. I made this whole universe for you. With each new life, you grow and mature, become a larger and greater intellect. Just me? What about everyone else? There is no one else, I said. In this universe, there's just you and me. You stared blankly at me. But all the people on Earth, all you. Different incarnations of you. Wait, I'm everyone? Now you're getting it, I said with a congratulatory slap on the back. I'm every human who ever lived? Or who will ever live, yes. I'm Abraham Lincoln? And you're John Wilkes Booth too, I added. I'm Hitler? You said appalled. And you're the millions he killed. I'm Jesus? And you're everyone who followed him. You fell silent. Every time you victimize someone, I said, you're victimizing yourself. Every act of kindness you've done to yourself. Every happy and sad moment you've ever experienced by any human was, or will be, experienced by you. Why, you ask me? Why do all this? Because someday you'll become like me. Because that's what you are. You're one of my kind. You're my child. Whoa, you said. Incredulous. You mean I'm a god? No, not yet. You're a fetus. You're still growing. Once you've lived every human life throughout all time, you'll have grown enough to be born. So the whole universe, you said. It's just an egg of sorts, I answered. Now it's time for you to move on to your next life. And with that, I sent you on your way. That's the story. That was actually quite nice. That could have been a lot worse. I was expecting this to be bad because eggs are like nothing. I thought it was like a literal egg. I thought like the big scary guy, the quote scary guy. I thought that it was going in the direction where he was going to turn the guy who died in a car crash into an egg, and maybe that would make sense because he's got to be all the people, but he's got to also be all the animals too, right? They have experiences, right? So at some point he probably was an egg, right? It's like, yippee, XD. You passion relays show when you're reading. I hope Asila takes a good nap after this. I will. Concern emoji. She well asked earlier. Hello, I see. Hi, Aru. Oh, I love this story. The cosmic egg. Solipsism at its finest. Asila, I apologize, but duty calls. Have a great day. May the sheep force be with you. I appreciate that. Have a good one. Thanks for stopping by. It was okay-ish. The others were so boring, not gonna lie. I'm more tired than before. I see. Lena, welcome in. World Walker. Is that where your name is? Welcome in again as well. Or word. Man, I can't read. Why do I read? Why do I do so many streams where I read? I'm terrible at reading. Alright, Russian sleep experiment. Aw, man, classic. Art of Jacob Emery. River Serpent. Beware the Wendigo. I think we talked about that a tad earlier. I am a foot soldier in a war against an alien race. This is my story. Aliens? I like aliens. This is 23 minutes long reading. Oh, we have like the entire hour. We can do this. We can do the alien one after. Let's see. I kept misreading your name as Aragorn. Wait, is that an R or and an N or an M? I can't read it. It's too tiny for me. I'm not really paying attention to the stories apart from the first and the stalker one. Your words are drowning out in my ears like nice white noise. Dang, I need to speak more clearly. Dang, I need to do vocal warm-ups and tongue twisters. Ah, my tea is room temperature. How sad. Let me take a sip of water here. Big yawn. Oh, did I yawn? I don't remember that. I don't remember that. There's multiple parts? No! I'm not gonna read this. I'm not gonna have time to read all this. Place where no one dies. My father punished me when I talked to ghosts. I'm a little intrigued, I guess. 8 minutes? It's not that long. Oh, this one has... Oh no, we didn't have a story with someone named Ellie earlier. We had like an Emily. I did yawn, big one. Ah, I see. You yawned. Rest well if you can. As he doesn't know, Aragorn, son of Arathorn, Lotr, watch along when? I watched at least the first movie, but that was a long time ago. If we're gonna do a watch along, call me selfish. I don't care. I need to see that dinosaur guy. I need to see the dinosaur guy. That's what we're gonna have to do. Alright, maybe not my father punished me when I talk to ghosts. Let's go to the third page. Peculiar kind of madness. The perfectly behaved boy. 17. Julia Laguerre. Slum. In the walls, just like you guys. Maybe we'll read this one. Make sure that we get some sheepy head representation. We could watch the whole trilogy in 12 hours? 12 hours! That's a long time. I want to take a nap. No, I will go to bed later. Not yet. Maybe after 10 plus hours. It's 18 p.m. now. I see. So it's like 2 p.m. It's like 2 p.m. Gotcha. Oh, my nose. Alright, 22 minutes of reading, 2014. Beings and Entities, anonymously authored. Okay. So someone doesn't want to see this. I don't want to read in the walls, actually. I'm picky. Candle Cove! I know that one. The Skinwalker. I investigate disturbing cases. Here are my stories. The woman. The woman. Is this real? 30 minutes. No, I'm not gonna do that. Ted the Caver. I know that one too. Dang, that's crazy. Dandelions. The Quiet Sky. The Hidden Webpage. Bound. I can't read that one. It's too hard. Ikbar. Oh, that one's too hard too. Sorry. The Day the Ropes Fell from the Sky. Sounds like the Junji Ito like balloons. It's 15 minutes. Apocalyptic and dystopian. I like that tag. I like that tag. Strange and unexpected. That's the author. Noose. Post-apocalyptic rope. Okay. Noose is what I was thinking. Yeah, it is kind of Junji Ito balloon-ish, I guess. Let's see, Sleepy Honey plus a runny nose. Oh yeah, my nose is always kind of like this in the morning. In a minute, I'll be jump scared by my usually second Essie alarm. You guys set alarms for me? Dang, you guys are dedicated. I'm taking another sip of water. Okay. Well, this is a 9.01 out of 10 from 179 votes. So not the most credible, since there's not a ton of votes on it, but it's still pretty highly rated out of all those. Yes? Man, that's crazy. We're gonna read The Day the Ropes Fell from the Sky. Okay. Here we go. The sun had not shone on us for more than 10 summers. This carcass of a place, this barren, discolored non-space, life shaken down to its last seed. Its potential is all spent. The heavens in that wide blue yonder above, now hard-boiled into a permanent blanket of gray that asphyxiates our globe. Imagine brewing a migraine inside a cauldron. You get an idea. Every breath drawn may as well be sucked from an exhaust pipe. For now, the smolder is only the ever broken by swirling voids of superstorms that either drown, freeze, or blaze us to death. The very dirt beneath our feet crushed beyond repair. An arid, blistered vacuum, soil petrified into pinky parchment. No force of creation pushed through this earth. It is in-between region in which we dwell, neither purgatory nor hell. Take your pick on what destroyed the world. War, warming, viral concoctions. It doesn't matter how it ended. All that matters is what happened after. The day the ropes fell from the sky, suspended from the very clouds themselves. Everyone who still could crawled out from their caves to witness the impossible miracle. And tribes who had spent their whole lives drawing weapons against others stood shoulder to shoulder, awe in their eyes and hearts. Their bodies, which had been falling apart for so long, became resembled of recharged at that challenge and the promise that dangled before them. 100,000 of these ropes covered the landscape, stretching as far as vision and light would allow. Each strand swayed with such inviting innocence, and each could bear the weight of any individual who chose to wrap their head around these threaded necks. The people waited a cautious hour to see if any form of malevolent life would come scurry down these lines. Invaders from other worlds, perhaps, ready to enslave. But no such threat arrived. A wind from the east made the army of cords dance in the breeze, and with it a faint whisper seeped in the minds of us all. A mental scent, one audible word: climb. All came and heeded the call, even those who had remained in the dead cities, full of dead machines and dead hives, burned out shells, giant hollow boxes still smoking and melting like ashtrays the size of lakes. Each person reacted in a different way to the ropes. Some spared not a thought at the matter, and ran full pelt to the nearest line, wiggling up the thing one desperate lunge after another, ready to escape this reality. They didn't last long. They were the first to fall, the first ones I had to bury. Others took time to study and prepare their ascent. They gathered supplies, extra clothing, and spent hours roughing their hands upon rock to build up protective calluses. The smartest ones knew how to coil the rope around themselves as they climbed, granting them a harness in order to rest their arms between exertions. I watched them scaling upwards until the outline was but the size of a flea blurred against the smoky sky. A dozen or so made it all the way through the low clouds. I call those ones the skyscrapers. But now there are fewer and fewer who can reach such a height, and eventually they all fall too. Why do so many climb and risk an uncertain fate? Well, what else was there to do? A trip into the unknown, some form of excitement and adventure, was an offer not to be refused. Our species, formerly known as humanity, was circling the drain. The mundanity of everyday survival was only broken by the spilling of blood, be that innocent or guilty. We have forgotten ourselves. Reason had evaporated from the heat of conflict. There is no trust, and barely anyone speaks now. For what really is there even to say? I am one of the few that still cling onto their wits, who can form thoughts, words, and scriptures. As for the others, it'd be generous to compare their intelligence with that of a dog. Infected with de-evolution they be. I remember seeing one such madman take a torch and spend the whole night setting fire to the ropes. When he was done, the sky looked like it was leaking fire. He screamed at the top of his lungs until his voice went hoarse. At dawn's light, he was sitting at the pile of ash, eating the charcoal remains of his victims. But his efforts were for naught. He barely made a dent in their numbers. They carried on drifting, and people carried on climbing. I stayed below to bury the bodies. I was too old to climb anyways. My fingers were knotted with arthritis and withered down to the dry stalks. In my rare dreams, I fantasize that I can climb, and I perforate with withered whiteness above. I am greeted by a specter of stars. I hope they still exist. I choose to cling on to old faiths that may have since discarded. I believe that the dead should not be left on display. They deserve a ritual and a ceremony of some sort, to pass them over to whatever lies beyond. I make each grave the same, 6 feet long, 4 feet across, and as deep as I and my loyal shovel can manage. It's a very messy job. and one that I will never finish. There are too many fallen for me to cover alone. On a good day, at full strength, I might prepare 10 fallen corpses for burial, but have 3 times that number fallen by sundown. The animals take whatever I don't get around to. Miracles are things of the past, so I wonder how I have escaped being crushed by a falling angel, like so many others have been. You eventually become numb to the way a body splatters to the ground, seeing everything a person ever was laid out before you in a forensic detail. An autopsy that offers a true insight into how fragile a creature we are. Just bags of blood and bones. I do my best to restore what I can for the funerals. Faces are nearly always bludgeoned beyond recognition. But sometimes I can piece together the structure of a nose or the curve of a mouth and back into proportion. I consider those times a rare blessing. Strangely, their hands always stay intact, somewhat shielded from the impact. The palms ablaze crimson with burns. Fingerprints scrubbed clean of their markers. The eyes, too. They remain. Separated from the sockets, their beauty is even more striking. Comparatively to the rarest gems, with more sparkle than the sharpest diamonds. Some of the mad ones collect them, trade them, and play marbles with them. Disgusting beasts. Have they no respect? Once or twice in a month, some pattern of the wind or grace of gravity balances a faller in such a way that they survive their initial plummet towards the earth. A lucky young girl fell from what appeared to be a mile up. She hit the ground, bounced off it like a drop of water, then stood back up within a few minutes, began her climb again, no less determined. Nothing can shock me more. Even the first time I saw a mother start her climb, with her baby strapped to her back, I did not react. The child looked at me, with bright blue peepers that glistened against the dirty rags it was wrapped in. The mother had fiery orange hair and bruises upon her face, where rosy cheeks should be. Perhaps she was escaping more than just this place. A few days later, I found the mother's fallen remains, recognizable only by that fiery hair, now dyed amber from her blood. Strangely, I could not find any evidence of the child's body, nor did I find it in the immediate area. Maybe she had time to secure the child to the rope before she succumbed to her fatigue. Death would not be certain either way. My ears sometimes play tricks on me, and I catch the sound of a baby crying from above. Must be the wind, I assure myself. The ropes did not only lure people to their deaths, there were some opportunities for joy. The few children in our population would use them in an endless number of games, be it tying several together to make a giant swing, and testing each other's strength at tug-of-war, or cutting away the loose strands of fashion, hairbands, and primitive jewelry. I taught a few of the more interested children how to thread and knit the material into crude dolls. They've almost become a gadget for the dark times, an object of one's statue. The little ones feel no desire to climb. They're smarter than any of their seniors. One morning, I decided to take a break from my duty and journey across the open scrublands. No destination in mind, just a wander with my thoughts. There are less ropes out in this section, and thus fewer bodies. I try to remember the last time I heard such true and perfect silence. My mind settles in peace, before a black bird suddenly screams down from above, swirls around my head, and lands upon a mound of rags. Formerly a person, a few yards away. Just another fallen free male. But as I approach, I see the bird struggling to release something gripped within one of the body's intact hands. I shoo the beast away with my walking stick. I soak up the pain from my knees as I bend down and prise open the dead gray fingers. I lost my place. Hold on. The rigor mortis was strong, but my will was stronger. There, in the palm, nestled like a pearl, was a ball of screwed up dirty paper. Although it was obscure, I could see there was writing on the page, an art form I hadn't seen in years. My curiosity wouldn't stop crawling at me until I picked up the ball and unveiled its message. It was barely legible. Who knows how this person wrote this so high up? while they clinged on for dear life. I read it, and despite the blazing heat that day, my blood ran cold. Change my sitting position, hold on. It read, "Do not climb." I reached the end, and there was nothing. I showed the message to no one. Most wouldn't comprehend it anyways. I tore the paper into pieces, the size of baby spiders, and let the wind dispose of the evidence. It was a few days later before the teeth of the note took a bite of my spirit. Apparently, some avenue of my mind still held on to the hope that there did in fact exist some form of utopia at the end of those ropes. And even if only one of us reached the top, that would be enough to justify the struggle. And my part in the proceedings. A new depression took hold, not the standard misery that we all come to suffer on a daily basis in this afterbirth of an existence. No, this new dejection is sharper. It stops me from rising in the morning and taking the time to feed and water myself properly. I hide away from others and put no effort into my work. When I do happen to dig, the earth seems to fight back at me, refusing to give up. Any more real estate for the dead? Or, yeah, that's part of the other sentence. Ignore that. Ignore. I hammer at it for hours and hardly scratch the surface. Each rejection runs the wick of my life's candle down ever more. Finally, one dark evening, my ankles collapse, and so does my shovel, splitting in two against the rock soil. I crash in the rot and prepare to take my last conscious thoughts and images. The previous occurs to me. This will be the last grave I dig. And it turns out to be my own. A manic noise fills the air. It takes me a while to recognize the sound, my own laughter. So long has it been since I had any use for it. I pray for the mad ones not to take my eyes. Soon after, I am weeping, not for my own life, but that of my dead shovel, pathetically. The only thing I would call a friend in this world. It deserves better. My sight becomes a slowly closing tunnel, and I'm gone. But that is a lie. My candle lights anew. I awaken to a noise of soft speaking and serrations. My sight is awash with blurs, but I can just make out two small figures crouching down beside me, their hands busily assembling something. My movements startle the pair, and they scatter off. Slowly as the oncoming fog, I raise myself off the ground and rub my my injured body back to health. One strained scuff after another, I walk towards the object the figures are playing with. It's my shovel, now repaired. Lying on the ground, several lengths of rope fixed around its body. It's even tied in a bow. Same way people use to offer each other gifts. I hold it in my hands, stab it in the ground, push down, lift the soil. It works well, if not better than before. A giggle echoes across the wasteland. The children stand in a V formation, watching me like prey. The social reactions to a wave might scare them off, so I just nodded gently and smiled with my eyes. They let loose another happy screech and disappeared into the mist. An idea sparks in my mind, or my head. Something new and exciting. Those children, the ones who I taught to make toys and braid from the rope, had actually learned something from me. They had innocence, yes, but more than innocence. There was once another word to describe such a feeling. They had freedom of thought. And if the note I found is true, then I need a new vocation. From that moment on, I decided to focus my effort on tending to the living, not the dead. The bodies still fall through the sky like heavy snowflakes, but I ignore them. Whatever happened to them is their choice. But the people below, they are the reality. I commit myself fully to teaching those who I would usually discard. I set up a school of sorts and relay the basics. Simple method of scavenging food, how to seek out clean water, and instruction of the alphabet and numbers. Obviously, some still reject me, even beat me, and climb the ropes regardless. But others do take heed, listen closely, and start to see the possibility of a different, less crushing version of life. I press myself upon them the need to teach others in the same way, for I will not be here forever. What fruit will my students bear? The future keeps the answers to that question under lock and key, as is only right. I'd never questioned the purpose of the ropes, or what their true meaning, if any, would be. There was one theory presented to me. In startling fashion, one evening after I had finished my daily lesson, I saw an old man, somewhat even older than me, walking across the wild spread, carrying several large rocks in his silvery arms. My curiosity crawled at me again, and I followed him. He took the rocks towards one of the far-away ropes, and I watched him as he stacked the chunks of sediment flat upon another, creating a platform. With one last strain, he placed the final rock upon the top of the pile and stood back to size up his creation. "Finally enough," he said breathlessly. His tower completed, the old man scrambled up onto the platform, planting both feet firmly on the new altar. It held his weight, but only just. He then seized the rope in his hands and whipped it into a knot, a horrible knot. An evil, disgusting assembly. It became a founding symbol that was used often by all societies in the final days of peace on this planet. The hangman's noose drops around the old man's head and he embraces it, the way one would receive a medal. He sees me stalking him, and a miniature storm clouds begin brewing in his eyes. "You hear? You speak?" he barked at me. It had been so long since I heard another person talk so clearly. It's a shame he couldn't have delivered nicer words. "I do both," I replied, with thick scorn. He nodded, and then let a river of words spill from his mouth. These ropes were not intended as an invitation to rise. They were instruments for mercy killings, painless, a euthanasia, directly from the heavens above, a blessing, if you like. By what force or direction, I do not know. Even those who peek beyond the veil of clouds cannot tell us. When, and only when, your soul has left your body can you truly climb. Your physical self must stay below. You're too dangerous an animal to ascend any other way, and unlike God... my phone's at 10%. And unlike gods, we must learn to die for our creation. With his serving complete, he jumped from his rocks and ended his life. It neither looked merciful or painless. I saw no evidence of a spirit leaving his body, so I could only console his presumption was wrong. But then, we have all been wrong before. I did not cut him down. I let him hang for his cause if he must. And if others follow, then that is also what they must do. Good Lord. I, however, stand strong in defense of our new terra firma. The lessons continue to go well, and we had our first gathering recently. Everyone brought an offering to contribute to the meal. It'd be a pitiful hill of beans when mirrored against the old world standards. But that can only be a good thing. The event was more humble, more aligned to the spirit of good intentions. The cost was proportional. For a race who once suffered in abundance, we've quickly learned to thrive through deficiency. I take a deep breath, and somehow the air tastes a tiny bit cleaner. The screams of the falling people grow quieter by the day, replaced instead by new songs and laughter, which rise up from our land, below in glorious harmony. That is The Day the Ropes Fell... Where's the rest of the title? From the Sky. Okay, let's change the music. There we go. Uh-oh, yo, thanks. It's a creepypasta. What book you're reading? Yeah, sorry. I don't take breaks in the middle of these. It messes with the story. But that was The Day the Ropes Fell from the Sky. I kind of like that one. That was pretty nice. See, what is the story? The Day the Ropes Fell from the Sky. Ooh, I'm back. Welcome back, Kenshin. Creepy sheepy, me. The teeth of the note. Now the thumbnail makes sense. Exactly. I was just referencing the story we were gonna read. Lucilla, and I'm scared already. Welcome in, Articus. 10% battery left. The scariest story of them all. I know. J.O. Hi, Tenma. Welcome in. How have you been? Thanks for stopping by. Waving emoji. Hi, Rujo. Welcome. Yeah, I like that one. That was pretty nice. That was pretty nice. Yeah, Unalive is the scariest part of the stream. Always is. Always is. Yeah, that was a nice one. I like that the ropes were unexplained. I like when things don't get explanation. I feel like it ruins the scary part if you know, like, why stuff is happening. The mystery makes it better. I'm gonna take a sip of water, too. Oh man, there's 20 minutes until nap time. Stretch. Okay, done stretching. Alright. Well, let's see. What else might we have in here? What else might we have in here? The Last Man of Faith. Ed. Ed. I feel like I know that one. Alright. Ascension. Rabbits in the Creek. The Crawl Space. I've heard a lot of scary stuff about crawl spaces. Maybe this is good. It's from 2013. It's a 20-minute read. We don't have time for that. We do have 20 minutes left, but that means it's gonna take longer because I'm reading it out loud. Yeah, it is a compelling, indeed. Alright, On a Hill, just like King of the Hill. That's crazy. The Gift of Mercy, Pretend. Persuade. 5 most haunted places to visit in Asia for your next eerie adventure. Sounds like an advertisement. Just write a story. The Girl the Universe Forgot. Hey, did we not read that today? Journal of a Psychopath, High School. Project Atlantis. Sniff? I don't think I've read Sniff before. It came out in 2016. Folklore and folk tales, locations and sites, myths and legends, folklore, folk tales, legends, mythology, myths. That's 31 minutes. Yeah, Sniff is gonna have to be a no. Yo, should I work here? I work where? Likes he doing? Can I get some more explanation? I don't think I understand. Alright, crawl space is 15. That's a no. Sniff at dogs in shambles. I'm sorry, Sniff is too long for us. Dead man's rights, forget me. There's a lot of stories about forgetting people. Oh, my bad. No worries, it's okay. I'm not very good at understanding things. My grandfather's final invitation. The final fate of Mary Ford. It has no face. That's just Slender Man. The Pastel Man. Let's see, sheep with the eerie dentures? My teeth are all intact and in my mouth, excuse you. Is dementia horror? I don't think so. The Pursuit Institute. Someone wrote that story purely because the title rhymes. Let's go to page 5. Hag Love, I'm not, Never Again, String Theory, Doors, Nighty Night, Mommy Sleeps in the Basement. Why does Mommy sleep in the basement? Jeff the Killer reboot. Wait, there's more? It's came in 2018? No. Keep your story bad. Alright. Abduction and kidnapping, children and childhood deaths, murders and disappearances, investigations and crimes, abductions, childhood, children, crimes, disappearance. That's the author's name. Kidnappings, kids, murders, mysteries, schools, teachers. 6 minutes of reading. I'm not as intrigued anymore looking at the tags. It's horrible for people close to the person with it, that's for sure. Yeah. I thought he was talking about the genre dementia, though. Is dementia a genre? Would it be classified as that? Is dementia a genre? Not very good at defining genres. Maybe it counts. Maybe it qualifies. Is there any horror story that involves ninjas? If not, I should write one. Well, there probably is one, but we can't speak on how good or bad it is. Like you're doing like a live stream or something like that? I see. So you want to work as a live streamer. Here's your tip. Go find a real... live streaming is a real job. Go find a job that's stable first. Do streaming as a hobby. And if you end up making money for it, go for it. But never go into it thinking like, oh man, I'm gonna make $1 billion. Because then you're not gonna make $1 billion. And you're gonna not have a good time. Alright, becoming. My wife won't stop sleep talking. Oh, what about this one? 7 minutes. Madness, paranoia, mental illness, medical and hospitals. Author name, sleep talking, sleeping. 7 minutes. 5 minutes. Okay. This one shouldn't be too long. We can read this one. Alright. This is 8.99 out of 10 from 630 votes. I mean, you're not wrong, but this advice coming from you is a bit ironic, I know. You should be better than me, though. You should be better than me. It's like, if you're a parent and you're addicted to drugs, you're not gonna be like, oh yeah, it's okay, go do drugs. It's good to go do drugs. You're gonna tell him no. Don't be like me. Be better. I could pay 100,000. I somehow doubt that. Let's see. And Chica, welcome to the stream. Thank you for liking. I appreciate that. Thanks for stopping by. And take a sip of water. All right. Let's read my wife won't stop sleep talking. Okay. My wife won't stop sleep talking. My wife and I moved into our new apartment just a few months ago. Before this, we lived in a large cottage overlooking a beautiful lake. It was my wife's dream home for the 3 years we lived there. We didn't want to leave, but it was a necessary step for us. You see, Jessica and I used to live down south. Everything was going well for a while, but my law firm decided to promote me out of the blue. It was unexpected, but I couldn't have been more grateful. Unfortunately, the job entailed transferring to another one of our many branch locations. The one in question was in New England. We spoke long and hard on the matter, but eventually, Jess agreed to the move. It's important to note that the dollar doesn't stretch as far as north as it does down south. It's also harder to find employment. That's why we're downgrading our living space until Jess could find another job where we have to suffer. We would have to suffer. At least, that's the way she looked at it. Tensions were high the first few weeks after the move. I could tell Jess was irritable. She missed our old house, her old friends, and working a steady job. She had nothing to do with all of her free time, so she was bored out of her school. This led to so many fights. For a while, it seemed like we would never settle in. After about a month after the move, things started looking up. Jess found temporary work as a part-time editor at a local TV station. She loved the work, and she couldn't have been happier with her co-workers. I could have been happier for her. Everything seemed to be fine for a while. Not perfect, but fine. This time, when she slept... This was when the sleep talking began. It was to be expected, and honestly, I'm surprised it didn't start up sooner. You see, my wife is a reckless sleeper whenever there's a big change in her life, good or bad. It happens when we got married, when we moved into our first home, and when she had a miscarriage. Parentheses, I'll touch more on that later. Jess knows she sleep talks because I used to bring it up from time to time. I would laugh each morning, recalling the weird things she'd said the night before. This always made her uncomfortable. She seemed to be embarrassed by it. That's why, after the first night's sleep talking in our new apartment, I didn't say anything. The sleep talking went for a couple of weeks. It was at this time that Jess's temp job at the TV station came to an end. Without a job to keep her mind off things, her nightly outbursts became much worse. She began screaming at odd times during the night, in which it would be forced to calm her down. One night, her screams turned into tears as she was crying. She said something I'll never forget. I wish you were dead. I knew my wife was asleep, but as I sat by her side, calming her the best I could, I felt the need to press the matter. You wish who were dead, hon? To my surprise, she responded, you. This caught me off guard. It's a strange thing to want your husband dead, and even stranger while you're asleep. Why? I asked. You're ruining my life." Those 4 words cut deep. Whether they were meant for merely the product of a tired mind, they were the kind of words that demanded self-reflection. I wondered for a moment if I truly was ruining her life, or at least if I were to blame for her night terrors. My wife remained silent for the rest of the night. I know this because I stayed up. Contemplation and worry kept me from a good night's rest. I didn't believe for a second that my wife really wanted me dead, but her late night antics were certainly a cause for concern. Between the screaming episodes and the morbid dialogue, this is the worst her condition has ever been. The next morning, I came pretty damn close to telling her about what had happened. But I kept thinking about how she'd react and what she'd say. It was too much. I didn't want to burden her any more than I already did, especially after she'd just been laid off. I also didn't want to have another fight. In light of this, I kept my mouth shut. The following night, the screams were gone. This was comfort, but a fleeting one. Out of the blue, just as I was about to shut my eyes and call it a night, the sleep talk commenced once again. Sometimes I think about how I do it. I chalked this statement up to pure dream-induced nonsense. Then she continued, "While you're asleep in bed, I'll go up and go to the kitchen." I didn't know what she was talking about, but she kept speaking. It dawned on me. There was some moment of inaudible gibberish. From the bits and pieces that were fluent, I could paint a pretty good picture of what she was describing. Reach into, grab knife, over and over again, blood oozing off the bed. Can't ruin my life anymore. I got an ad, oh my god. Ugh. My wife is describing her plan to murder me. As deeply unsettling as this was, I couldn't help but chuckle to myself. It was just a dream after all, nothing more. I can't say I haven't done some weird things in my own dreams. Things I would never do in real life. Jess was mad at me over the move. And she was working out her frustrations while she slept. At least that's what I convinced myself. The sleep talking continued for a few weeks. I hoped that Jess's midnight venting sessions were doing her some good. But without a degree in psychology, I couldn't be certain. All I could do was listen to her ramble about offing me each night and wait for her condition to run its course. The longest her sleep talking had ever lasted was a month, so it was safe to say it'd be over soon. A month passed, and then 2. Jess didn't let up. Every night, it was the same routine, either incoherent nonsense or blabbing about how she'd like to hurt me. It was getting old, but one night changed everything. As my wife slept, she uttered some words that tore right through my heart. "I lost my baby because of you." My emotions swirled about and formed a sour concoction that rested in the pit of my stomach. This time, I had to know what she meant. "What do you mean, hon?" There was a brief moment of silence, but eventually Jess offered me an answer. There was some gibberish mixed in. She was able to get her point across. "You made me want kids. You put life in me. Now I'm alone." This struck a nerve and caused a few tears to roll down my cheeks. It was my idea to have kids. Jess never wanted children, but she made herself want them for me. That's why, after the miscarriage, I was surprised to find her absolutely devastated. I had no clue how much she warmed up to the idea of having a baby. My tears were interrupted by more sleep talking. Of the worst variety. "I will kill you. I promise." That was the last thing she said all night. It's been roughly a week since my wife made that promise. As disturbing as that threat was, I could have easily brushed it off with the rest, assuming it too was the product of stress and nothing for me to worry about. Unfortunately, I can't stop worrying about it. Jess is scaring the crap out of me. I'm now taking short naps and sleeping with one eye open. It's all because of one thing. Now she's sleepwalking. Alright. And that's the end of that. And oof. An anime waifu expert, I love you too. It's 5:51 AM for me. It's 5:57 now for me. Is she frozen? You're welcome. AOSC at this hour? Yep. And guys, this is why you don't get married. But we're married to a Siwa? Yeah. She can't get us during sleep? Yeah, exactly. Nor, Strick, you're D in crazy. Nor stick, you're D in crazy. Huh? I don't think I understand. My reading is not very good. Uh-oh. Is Sela sleep talks? I don't think. Thanks for the gifted membership yesterday. Yeah, congrats, Dan. Congrats. You're welcome. Is she frozen? No. It's coming from you. It's been ironic. Okay, looks like I'm all cut up. God. That's pretty deep. I don't think it was that deep. Then she sleepwalks and kills her husband. Got it? No! I've never had a husband before, and if I did, I wouldn't sleepwalk to stab him. No! Let's see, that was referring to her wanting to skull emoji her husband for miscarrying. I see. Gotcha. Alright. Look at the timer here, there's two minutes left. Oh my god. That was a longer story than I thought it was. Oh no. Alright, well I guess it's about time for me to start saying my goodbyes. And this story, Sally, the story, not you. Well, I'm not in this story. I thought you said my name. And kissy emoji. Mwah. Sleepy sheepy. I'm about to go take a nap. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you for your company. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. I will be taking a little bit of a nap. Yeah. And then I'm gonna wake up again and have breakfast and all that. And we're gonna play Cult of the Lamb at 9 o'clock, the usual time. See you next stream. Thank you, DMB. See you next stream. Let's see. Thanks for the storytelling, Seal. Of course, thank you for the company, Dead Space. No, I meant the wife in the story. Okay, bye, Shep. Bye, Second Meme Lord. She'd skull emoji us while awake if she could. Wait, me? No! Thank you for the kiss, Catalan. Mwah, have a nice nap. Thank you. I will. Thank you. For real, the music earlier makes me anxious ASF. It does kind of have that quality to do it. Not the story, yeah. But the music, Night, rest well, Kirby. Essie, you're the best. That's you, ER. Thank you, waving emoji. Bye, Rujo. See you, Sela. Have a nice nap. Please, no nightmares. Huggies and kisses. I won't. Don't worry about it. If I do, I'll tell you guys about it. It just takes up time for talking, you know? It's good for us. It's good for us if I have a nightmare. Thanks for the stream, Essie. Love you. See you soon. Thank you for the company. Love you too. See you soon. Mwah. I don't think I'll sleep because I'll just knock out for hours. See you next stream, wifey. Mwah. Mwah. See you next stream. Gotcha. Alright, time to go now. Thank you all again. I appreciate it. I'm gonna see all you guys soon. Bye. Okay. To YouTube. Mwah. To Annie Live. Mwah. To the other place. Mwah. To anywhere else might exist that I don't know about. Mwah. Okay. Time to go now. Bye. I'll see you guys all later.